is a fabulous fabric from the land of the five rivers.
He's gone! 10-5 touchdown! Raiders!
2 years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
We back. Man, y'all already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Man, you already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show, obviously with myself, PharoahNFL, and my guy, the Severe Raider. We're going live on both our channels. So if you haven't already, make sure to clock in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and all that good stuff, man. Hey, look, man, we got some things to talk about today, man. And the Raiders obviously lose another one. They lose another one against the Cowboys. I mean, it wasn't really surprising. Cowboys on Monday Night Football. I did pick them to win. It was one of my upsets. I got something wrong with me, man. I think I need to go to the doctor, man, because I don't know why I keep picking the Raiders, but I got to do what I got to do, man. You guys keep picking all the games that I want to pick, so I got to figure out a way, like, all right, let me see. But yeah, man, we're going to get into it, man. We're going to talk about the Raiders, obviously the loss, what this means for the season. Obviously, it's the same thing. I mean, as far as we're looking at the draft position and where we're at right now, the Raiders are currently have the number 6 overall spot if the season ended today. a lot can happen. I seen something where if they would have lost yesterday, or if they would have won, actually, if they would have won, they would have dropped all the way down to number 11. Ain't that crazy?
Crazy.
Like drop all the way. So that's how close it is. There's a whole bunch of bad teams right now, and that's how close it is. And due to the Raiders' strength of schedule, I think it's hurting them since they have a tough schedule, or teams that they're playing are winning, which is increasing their strength of schedule, which is like a tiebreaker because a lot of teams are like 2-8, 2-3. You know what I mean? It's just if you look at the top 10, almost all the teams have pretty much identical records. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into that. Flag on the play, notable quotables, what's real, what's not. We'll get into all that good stuff, man. Salute to everybody pulling up. My guy Raider Ray, man. I guess it's gonna be his theme song every time he come through, man.
Hell no. To the no.
Salute, man. Appreciate you pulling up. He says, "Can we please rebuild with a young and up and coming staff and great drafting?" Yeah. I mean, that's where I hope they. I hope they give Spytek an opportunity to pick his coach that he can, be the GM and let the coach be the coach, and there is like a good chemistry between the two. I just don't think that. I thought Pete Carroll was a hire that was made by the powers that, in that Raiders organization, which is led by Tom Brady and that firm, and and they pretty much picked out because they were interviewing coaches before they hired the GM. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, facts.
Everything you need to know, man. Cam in the building, man. Appreciate you pulling up, my guy, man.
Salute to you.
LS was good. Emmanuel, man. Appreciate you pulling up.
What's good?
Last says Pete is a fraud. Someone needs to directly call him out on the JPJ crap. 61 at right guard last night was nasty work. Yeah, facts. We're gonna get into that, man. It's so funny that we called this out as soon as he got hired. Not this games. We didn't know the games was coming. We didn't know Pete was gonna be on this type of time. We didn't predict that. But what we did say is that why hire a 75-year-old coach? That's what we said. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And one of the talking points, one of the things that we're going to talk about is the disconnect between GM and head coach. And it's the reason why we said, why hire a coach? Because now you put yourself in a corner, because when things go left, what do you think Pete is going to want to do? He's going to want to win. The GM's going to be like, no, we got to play these young players. Yep, and that's where we're at right now. At 2-8, Pete wants to argue with Spytek about playing the young players. Caleb Rogers didn't even play. Caleb Rogers, the guy that everybody expected to play yesterday. And yesterday was so bad on the offensive line. It's like, damn, like, really? Why don't you just throw in a young guy? Let him just learn. He might be just as bad or maybe just a little bit better, but still, it's your young draft pick, offensive guard. Yes. Like, what are you doing? Nah, but Pete's like, no, I want to go with the veterans. They give me the best chance to win at 2-8.
Yeah. It literally couldn't be worse. Like, he couldn't go in the game and be any worse than what we already had out there. So at that point, just get a young guy a chance. Like, it makes no sense for us not to. And like, just it is. We keep hearing, and before the year, we heard, I always look at my track record. I play young guys. Look at my track record. I play the young guys, and it has not been the case at all. It's at this point, bro. It's only hurting the team going forward.
Yeah, man. Something's wrong.
I forgot. Yeah, bro. I remember that pick. I was like, because like you didn't have that pick. I don't think before, right? Did you change your mind last minute on that one?
No, I picked the Raiders, but then it was funny. Before the game, I was like, oh man, I picked I was like, damn, I picked the Raiders, because you know what they were talking about before the game. Because I'm superstitious like this. I don't know if you want to call this superstitious, but like when I hear like the team is dealing with someone that died, I'd be like, fuck.
Oh yeah, that's like the Rams. I saw,
No, the Steelers. The Steelers. You remember when the Raiders were playing the Steelers and their Hall of Fame running back died right before the game? I'm like, the Raiders lost. I'm like, come on, man.
I was thinking about the hands up, don't shoot when we were both bad, and then the Rams went beat us 52-0, something like that. It was like,
yeah, like this. My point is, it's not about the death.
Brett Favre and his dad, and
yeah, it's just something that galvanized the team. I'll be like, damn, man. I've seen that so many times where teams get hella motivated and they're like, kumbaya, just holding hands, like, yes, we're gonna win this for the team.
Yeah, bro. Because I was thinking about the pick. I was like, man, I hope the Cowboys don't mess around and lay an egg, And then I saw the motherfuckers had on them shirts. I was like, oh, it's a wrap.
When I seen the shirts, bro, I was like, damn, man. There's no way they're gonna lose. There's no way they're gonna lose. And it was so bad. That's not a bad thing, but it's just that when I seen like the Raider players, I seen Max have the suicide hotline and stuff like that. I'm okay.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all feeding into basically them winning the game. Like, man, it was just and that's not the reason why the Raiders lost. No, the Raiders suck. They're not good. They're not good. That has nothing to do with why the Raiders lost. I'm just like, I've just seen so many games where like you just said, you mentioned Brett Favre, Monday Night Football, his dad died, and he has one of the greatest games of his career. You know what I mean? Like, I remember missing practice, watching that game, and I'm like, damn, I missed practice to... bro, that's... Man, I've seen it so many times, but that's not the reason why the Raiders lost. The reason why the Raiders lost is because they suck. That's why they lost. Come on, I'm not even gonna, change. I'm not gonna make it excuse. The Raiders suck. Defense, we all know going in like there was no chance they had no chance guarding those two like. I mean, probably we talked about it before. I think second best receiver core in the NFL.
I would say, yeah.
Outside of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins,
yeah,
and George Pickens, he looks like a number one receiver, and he's about to get paid. And I think the Cowboys might pay him. They might franchise him.
They probably will.
They might franchise him, and then they might trade him to the highest bidder. It's possible that could happen too.
Devontae style.
Yeah, but man, I wouldn't be if they paid him. Like, he is a number one receiver. And I was saying, I said this yesterday, and I was like, man, it would make sense for the Raiders to throw the bag at Pickens, just the state of their Raiders wide receiver core, because they don't have a true X receiver, and Pickens can you could slide him right, boom. You got a guy right there on the outside that's gonna scare the safety. Boom, you got that guy with Pickens. But the problem is I don't trust Pickens in Vegas. I don't trust him at all. I don't know if you remember that first snap. Both Pickens and Lamb were CeeDee Lamb. I think the first series they were benched. They were benched. Like, they were in the game, and they didn't say why, but most likely they probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They went out or something like that.
Because I guess the thing they asked Brian Schottenheimer, and he wouldn't say why. He did say it wasn't because of an injury, and he said it was a coach's decision. It's like, so that means it was something disciplinary. Obviously, he's not trying to call him out or embarrass him. So that's good. People can kind of put two and two together and figure out what it is. They won't know the exact reason what caused for the disciplinary action, but they'll know it was disciplinary. So and I think we talked about it before the show. Probably broke curfew, or they were late to a team meeting or missed a team meeting, something like that. So it is what it is. But they more than made up for it the rest of the series they were in the game.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know who you're a fan of, but I can't even argue with you, man. Like, he's been an owner for since 2011. And the Raiders have sucked. I mean, 2011, 2012, I think.
Yeah.
2012 was probably like the first off season of him being an owner. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's been bad. I mean, The Raiders' excuses for him has been like he's trying. He's tried everything. He's tried different combinations. Right now, it looks like it's the Tom Brady show. Like he has Tom Brady as a minority owner, but kind of overseeing the GM and the head coach. Spytek is Tom Brady's right-hand man. Like Tom Brady is handpicked GM. So you know he's going to be locked in with him for the next few years. We'll see how it goes. But you got to hold him accountable for the P hire. That was terrible. It was bad. And the reason, and one of the things, Albert Breer, I don't know, Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated, he's like a Patriots insider. Like he knows a lot of things going on with Tom Brady, anything related Patriots, and other things going on in the NFL. But anytime Tom Brady comes up, he always has something to say about it because he got some connections. Yeah. And he would say like things like, especially during the time when they brought in Pete Carroll, how much respect he had for Pete Carroll and how much respect he had for the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like,
Steve Spagnuolo.
It's like, that's the barometer that we're going off. It's just you respected him about 10, 15 years ago. I mean, respect to Spagnuolo. He's doing his thing as a defensive coordinator, but I don't know if it might have been a better move to hire him than Pete Carroll. That's a whole different conversation. You make a divisional opponent weaker. Yeah. But that's a whole different conversation. I'm not even saying I would have been excited about Spagnuolo, but what I'm saying is this: like you gotta put it on Brady that they went ahead and they hired Tom Brady. I mean not Tom Brady, but Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll.
And part of it was the firm that was giving a list of pool of candidates. We all know Tom Brady's first choice was Ben Johnson, but that's an easy one.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody wanted Ben Johnson. And I know Pete. I know that was his first choice. Then he wanted Matt Stafford. Okay, I get you. But now it's like, all right, you're the Raiders. Now you're with the Raiders. How do you maneuver within the Raiders? And this is where I want Spytek to be in the forefront. Like, let him be a GM. Because a lot of people have been saying to me, like, well, Spytek, he's a first-time GM, so he needs some time. No. All these guys that get hired are first-time GMs.
Exactly.
If anything, there's an exception to the rule is second guys that have experience at GM getting a second opportunity is actually rare. It's not something that you see. So you need to, whoever you hire, whoever was like, hey, this guy, he has it. I believe in this guy. You need to go all in. And if it doesn't work out, cool. It's not cool, but that should be the process. It shouldn't be like, oh, we should pull the plug or we need to give it time because we give it the proper time to evaluate a GM. You give it the proper time to evaluate a coach. But the thing is, they hired a 75-year-old coach who, I'm sorry to say, I don't want to fire a coach. I'm tired of firing coaches every year. And I'm not saying I'm firing them. Like, I don't own the Raiders. But I'm tired as a fan to see this team go through another head coach because we know how much that sets the team back. We know what type of message that it sends to the league. We talked about this before. Like, I think, it sends a bad message, meaning that how are we going to bring in good candidates? Yeah. You got to start to question that. Like, people are not going to trust that. And I think there was like I think we had a show where we went over like an article by The Athletic. Yeah. And they went to they had like a pool of agents. It was a survey and they ranked the most dysfunctional teams.
It was team executives and agents. And the most dysfunctional team. And that was like right around the time after the Panthers and their owner had done what they did to Frank Reich with the whole, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young situation where, Frank Reich wanted CJ Stroud and the owner wanted Bryce Young, and obviously CJ Stroud went on to have one of the best rookie quarterback seasons of all time, go to the playoffs, and Bryce Young struggled mightily, ended up getting benched as a rookie. So it was a situation where it's like, like they had so they had their survey, and despite all that stuff, the Panthers were number 1, the Raiders were number 2. And and that like I said it at the time, like how we keep just going through these coaches, man. Like nobody wants to stake their future, their reputation, their legacy, their income, their future income, right, on the Raiders organization, because there's no guarantee that you will be not only given the talent that you need to succeed, but the time that you need to acquire that talent, get that talent to jail, and then take off. Like before you do any of that, like, before you even unpack your bags fully, before you close escrow on your house, you getting fired. So and like nobody wants, like, and people never look at, like, I know for us, we're so distant from it, even as fans, we're so removed from everything, but these are still people, right? So these are still people that have kids, that have a family, and they have to, if you get fired and you uproot your family and you move to a brand new location, you got to deal with taking your kids out of school. And obviously, the kids don't want to move out because they've made friends there and they've built relationships there. And you've built community there where you lived before. And now you got to take your family to a new location. And you're thinking in your head, you know what? We're going to set our roots down here, and we're going to be a part of this community. And our kids going to go to this school, and they're going to be in this educational system. And then you do all that, and then you get fired. And then you have to try to find another job again, and then uproot your family again. Like, right? Like, man, it's like Pete don't gotta worry. Damn sure about that. But but like these young coaches, like that's Pete got to find a new doctor. He got to find a new. It's like it's like my team of doctors over here. My optometrist is great. It's like, but it's like like so. Like, so that's stuff we don't consider, but that stuff these young, like all that stuff factors in, man. And we don't think it plays a real factor, but like these are human beings at the end of the day with people that they care and love, and with families and all that stuff. Like they look at all that stuff, man, and how we're doing these coaches it's not going. It doesn't make us an attractive destination. Not only just what's on the field, but just how we're doing everything in the front office as well.
No, for sure. I agree. But the biggest thing, and you kind of alluded to it right now, is that it's the talent. The talent on this roster is pretty bad. It's worse than what we thought. But maybe it's the coaching combined with this talent is worse than we thought, because last year it didn't look as bad as this, and we felt like last year was bad. But exactly. This year feels worse. Exactly. Watching these games, and we have it looks like we have more talent, but I don't even know anymore. Like it's just, what are they? I don't know what's going on here. So there's a talent issue with the Raiders, which we clearly seen before the season. You know what I mean? We were like, I don't really have high expectations going into the season, but also we don't have a quarterback, most importantly, and that's what's going to be the toughest thing about moving on from Pete is. We don't have a quarterback, and we don't have a talented roster to bring in some of the best coaching candidates in the building. Yeah. So I wouldn't have no problem sticking with Pete, because hear me out on this one. The Raiders, I know I lost you right there. I lost a few people right now. The Raiders are in a situation, they're rebuilding. And this is when you're rebuilding, it's like Jeff Schwartz on X said, the Raiders are the worst kind of bad. And he should start talking about like, man, you only got a handful of talented guys on a rookie deals. You just start and this is why I said before, because a lot of people are like, oh well, this team won after they got a coach they won in 1 year, and this team, but the Raiders are not that team. You have to look at it from just the Raiders' perspective. Like you got to look at what the Raiders have on their team. They don't have a quarterback yet. We don't know who that is. Obviously, Geno's not the answer. They're going to have to draft a guy. Hopefully, this upcoming draft. We've been hoping for the last few years, but they haven't pulled the trigger. The only trigger they pulled was literally Cam Miller in the 6th round. those rounds really don't matter. Those are Cam Miller could have been an undrafted free agent if we want to be real.
For sure.
If you told me Cam Miller's undrafted free agent and I didn't see the draft, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I believe that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even blink. I would even like question you.
Yeah.
But the fact is, the Raiders drafted him in the 6th round, and that was their attempt at a quarterback. It wasn't really an attempt. Yeah. So the Raiders hopefully are going to try to draft a guy in the premium rounds, the early rounds, a guy that's talented, a guy that has some potential, hopefully. But we don't know who that is. And coaches are not going to come to a team that they don't have anybody on that roster. So right now, like, I would want to stick with Pete because it's going to be ugly. If you guys remember the 2012 season, and I know someone brought up, Mark has been terrible owner, and we talked about that 2012 season. That was the first offseason of Mark Davis being an owner, and he hired Reggie McKenzie. Yeah. And they were in a worse situation. They didn't have a 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick. They had no cap space. They hired Dennis Allen. It was like guaranteed. Are you even going to win like a game? Like, they had Carlson Palmer that for 1 year, but it was just not. It wasn't going to be a good football team. It was obvious. But that was Dennis Allen, and a lot of people are going to be like, well, Dennis Allen was one of the worst head coaches and this, that, and the third. But guess what Dennis Allen was? He was the sacrificial lamb. He was the guy that had to take the bullet, you know what I mean, for that first stage of that rebuild process. Because what happened next? Because during that time, when Dennis Allen was the head coach, Reggie McKenzie was slowly but surely adding talent to the roster, which led to the obviously great 2014 draft. But then what happened? We all know Dennis Allen got fired, for all types of reasons, but he got fired. But guess who took advantage of the accumulation of talent that Reggie McKenzie was able to do with Dennis Allen and all that losing and all that? That was Del Rio.
Yeah, Captain Jack.
And his first season was 7-9. His second season was 12-4. So right now we're in that first stage of the rebuild process. Let's be real. We're in that first stage where like, man, we don't even have a young QB. We need some talent on the offensive and defensive line. Like, we need talent everywhere. Wide receiver, everywhere.
Yeah.
The Raiders need talent everywhere. So I wouldn't mind even a Pete Carroll staying. The problem is with Pete Carroll is this man is, I don't know what's going on mentally with, like, he doesn't want to play the young players. He's already, but, and I said this before. I'm like, man, why is he not playing? Is there a disconnect with Spytech? And people were like, oh, stop speculating. And guess what now what they're saying? Guess what the media is saying now?
Yeah. So
they're saying we don't know if Pete Carroll is going to stay past this year because of him clashing with Spytech, because there's a clear disconnect with him not playing the younger players. The Raiders are 2-8, and he doesn't want to play anyone outside of Genty and Dante Thornton. Dante Thornton, this dude, man. I could go in, man. I gotta address this super chat real quick. My guy Taj, appreciate you, my guy. This from earlier. He says Pickens a dog. I wish CD had that same dog in him, but he don't. Jerry better cut that check. Whoo, hey, you know what? Low key, that's a shots fired.
Man, yeah.
Man, so you calling CD the number 2? And
look, last night he was.
Yeah,
last night he was for sure.
That's true. And this might be the Raider fan of me, but I ain't gonna lie. Like, if Henry Ruggs was still in the league,
look, bro,
I think he had potential to be better than all these fools. But that's a whole different conversation. But man, my guy Taj, man, appreciate the super chat. Yeah, man. So going back to what I was saying, man, look, I wouldn't mind Pete staying because Pete would be part of his coaching. And I think they probably bet on that. Like, Pete is a guy that's super positive, and he's just going to bring that culture while we add talent. But what they forgot was Pete is old and he's trying to win now.
Exactly.
And he's already clashing with the GM, and he's already doing things like where he's playing favorites with the team. And I alluded to that when I brought up Dante Thornton, because I like Dante Thornton. I think he could be good, but I was surprised that he was drafted that early.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that he started right off the gate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did Dante Thornton really compete? Did he really compete? Why did JBJ compete? Did Geno really compete? How about when Geno threw 3 interceptions in 3 different occasions, or at least 2? How about when Geno threw 13 interceptions, where he's tied with the league in interceptions with Tua?
Yeah.
Is he competing? Are you not having any thoughts of putting it, like, at least, hey, for all the people hating on AP, at least AP was like, nah, we'll start somebody else.
Yeah. Now, facts.
He had no problem be like, hey, you're not playing good enough. We're going to play another quarterback. At least he did that. Pete is not doing that at all. Pete is going to go down with the ship. He is going to go down with Geno, which doesn't make any sense at all for a guy that wants to win now, that wants to win.
Yeah. I mean, it's a situation where, as we kind of alluded to, and I've said before, like,
salute.
Pete does a thing where it's compete for guy. Like, if you're not a Pete guy, then it's all about competition. Like however much you play, it's based on competition. If you're not a Pete guy, like Geno plays a bad game and he leaves him in there because he needs to practice. JPJ struggles a little bit and he pulls him out because he's not performing well. Well, like, why are you pulling out a second-year player that's not performing well, but leaving in a 35-year-old veteran quarterback that's not performing well? Like, who would need practice more in that situation? So, it's clear, and we heard it around the time of the Jermaine Pratt thing, right? We kind of heard rumblings then that there were some issues in the locker room, and there was some favoritism going on, and there were certain people that were getting favorable treatment, and it was kind of bothering some of the other guys in the locker room, especially some of the veteran guys. So we heard these rumblings way back then, and we kind of swept it under the rug because, like, nobody, like, you look at Pete, like, he looks like he's just the nicest old guy. Like, the guy you see, like, you out walking your dog, he's in the front mowing his lawn with the paper under his arm. Like, hey, Pete, how you doing, man? Oh, man, the kid's doing great. Pete, thanks for asking, man. Like, he's that guy. He's the neighbor. He's the friendly neighbor you have. But, bro, like, the way this dude is moving within this organization, bro, it is all bad, and it's causing rifts. And I think we talked about it a little bit with Murph, right? We hear about there's a rift between him and Patrick Graham. There's some rift between him and Chip Kelly. There's a rift between him and Spytek. We're he's the central figure in all of these rifts, and he's a guy that has his hands in all of these different areas. And obviously, he doesn't have his hands on the wheel of the car because this thing is sputtering and it's flying off a cliff right now. It's Thelma and Louise right now. At the end, it's flying off a cliff. Like, bro, you're not controlling the direction of this or the aspects that you should be controlling, which is the culture and the locker room, and the competition and building that strong foundation. Instead, you're worrying about having your hands in all these other pots or playing favorites or making sure your guys are the guys that are in the game, and that's just throwing everything off.
Yeah, shout out to my guy. Pete doesn't know he's rebuilding.
Jay Rader, yeah, for sure, man.
Jay, man. Hey, shout out to him, my guy. Hey, man, definitely check out Jay Rader, man. Just Raiders, baby, man. Definitely check him on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to my guy. But yeah, man, Pete is that's the problem. It's the fact that, like, he's not. We heard about. You know what? I got a bone to pick with old boy from The Athletic. That was the Seattle Seahawk insider, and how he was hyping up Pete Carroll. I'm about to rewatch that interview, man. Like, I ain't got no problems with him, but man, he hyped up Pete Carroll like he was the best thing since sliced bread. Like, man, Pete is gonna bring back this team and this, that, and the third. And man, it looks like Seattle knew something that nobody else knew when they got rid of Pete, or they respectfully, moved him to an advisory role in the building, and let John Snyder run the show as a GM. And so far, John Snyder's been making the right moves, by the way. Seattle over there doing their thing. And Geno too as well. They made the right move by getting a 3rd round pick for Geno Smith, man. They were able to flip that, get, obviously Sam Darnold in free agency, and essentially the same contract, and get a 3rd round pick on top of that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But see, what we say, other people didn't know, or like only the people in Seattle, because basically what they did, Seattle did the coaching, version of putting Pete in the old folks home, right? Like, this shuttle, like, oh, come on over here, Pete. Like, come here to this office, and just take a look at these scouting reports and tell us what you think. Color on them and leave us some notes, and here's some sticky notes to put stuff on there, and just leave it on my desk in the morning. I'll check it out. Now, that's essentially what they did, right? They stuck him into a low impact role, and they'll just let him make him feel like he's still part of the organization, but he's not really actually doing anything. Nobody really has to listen to him. It's just doing busy work, right? And we say nobody else knew, but guess what? How many teams interviewed Pete? 2. And the Bears, that wasn't a serious interview. Like, the Bears already basically knew they had Ben Johnson. That was the guy they had locked in on. So the only team that seriously considered Pete Carroll was us. No other team that had a vacancy even took a look at Pete Carroll. They didn't even call and request it, because Pete Carroll would have went. He was desperate to get back to coaching. He would have went and took any interview that was offered to him. Nobody else wanted that interview but us and the Bears. And like I said, the Bears, I think that was just doing their due diligence type of situation, because I feel they already knew they had Ben Johnson locked up. So like everybody knew but us, and we were sold a bill of goods. Because now that you say that, what we heard all offseason is that, you know what, Pete is that's not necessarily a ceiling coach, but he's a floor coach, right? He raises the floor for your team. You're not going to be lower than this. He's never won less than 6 games in a season. Never has he done it, right?
Flag on a play. That's a flag on a play. Flag on a play.
For sure.
Flag on a play, man. Real quick, me acknowledge LS Super Chat, man. Appreciate you supporting the show. He says, we can't hang on to Pete just for the sake of not firing another coach. You can't go another year with this type of disconnect between coach and GM. Facts. I don't think you can do much worse than Pete right now. Yeah, man, look. And the point that I was trying to make when I brought up the Dennis Allen situation is because I was trying to compare it to, even though, like, obviously, Reggie McKenzie, his first offseason was like crazy. It's nothing to compare to right now where the Raiders are at. But we can't compare it from a talent perspective, compared to the rest of the league. The Raiders are not there. From a quarterback perspective, the Raiders don't really have a quarterback. If anything, that team had a quarterback in Carson Palmer. You know what I mean? Compared to Geno Smith, and we know that if Pete's gone, Geno's for sure gone. Like, he ain't. Yeah. They better get rid of him. Ain't no one going. You ain't competing over here. Go compete somewhere else. But the point I was trying to make is that, like,
he can go back to coaching whatever he was coaching. So he could yell at people and tell them that's why he makes the big bucks.
make the big bucks somewhere else, man. Whatever you say, I make the big bucks, make that somewhere else, man. Ain't not with the Raiders. But that being said, the point I was trying to make was that, like, Pete is he's not with the rebuild. He wants to win now. There's a disconnect with him and Spytek, and they need to go their separate ways because they need to get someone that's actually on the same page. Every coach is going to want to win. I get that. But at some point, if you're not playing the young players at 2-8, Kelly is starting on the outside. He's getting cooked by Pickens. Why not put Darian Porter? Let him go against some top tier talent and George Pickens. Let him get those reps. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Just like, I don't know how true this is. I seen somewhere where Caleb Rogers was supposed to start the game, and then he had one bad practice, and they just went ahead and went with the veteran instead. But the crazy thing is, shout out, Vinny even made this point. Vinny, he said, he didn't agree with the move. Like, even if you didn't want to start the game with him, he still could have got some reps in the game at some point, especially in a blowout. So because Caleb Rogers wasn't even active.
Not at all.
He was inactive. The guy that everybody thought he was gonna. Oh, okay, finally Pete has given in. Like he's gonna let the young guys play. He's still, man.
But I almost grabbed Caleb Rogers talking to the media for a notable quotable because like the way he was talking, he made it sound like he was about to play.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, he's get an opportunity and all. It's like I was like, okay, damn, okay, what are they telling him? And then obviously different media people say different things. I saw somewhere where they said he had one bad practice. I heard somewhere else that he had a bad week of practice. But like whatever it was, bro, it couldn't be worse than what we saw. It couldn't be like worse than like Will Putnam out there. Like it couldn't be worse than what we saw. And then like and that makes me think, right? You bringing that up because we all know Vinny's like, come on, we all know Vinny. We all know Vinny, right? So
right.
the fact that Vinny was asking those kind of tough questions, and you see the kind of stuff that Vinny is saying, that lets me know that hey, somebody gave Vinny the green light. Like, hey, brother, say what you want to say. You got some stuff to critical. Hey, say what you got to say. And that doesn't bode well for Pete. That's not a good omen for Pete Carroll. So, and I'm a guy that, you know what? I was hoping that we don't fire him. I don't want him here. Like I said, I was hoping to be a situation where if he leaves as a classy retirement, like, you know what? The season was tougher than I thought. It really, really took a toll on me. I never lost this much. It was really difficult. Yada, yada, yada. I think, I want to give it one last go after Seattle. And, I appreciate the Raiders for giving me the opportunity. But now, I'm going to go ahead and, hang up my headset and pursue other ventures. Oh, Pete. Oh, my God. Pete Carroll, legend. Hall of Famer. Thank you. Hey, I was hoping to be something like that. But if we got to get this old man to boot, we got to get your ass up out of here, bro. If we got to get security to walk you out the building, take your key card, hey, like, that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do.
Yeah, man. And look, and I wanted to let me land the plane and we'll move off this. But my point is that whoever the next coach is going to be, hopefully y'all understand where the Raiders are at as a franchise. So hopefully the next coach the Raiders get is going to be the next coach for the next 10, 15 years because he's had a whole bunch of success. But the reality is the Raiders are going to be in a rebuild, and the main priority is going to be adding talent and developing the team, and eventually, develop that team to either, become a winner during the time of that coach or hand it off to the guy. Because right now, and I said this earlier, the Raiders' options are going to be limited. They're not going to have like the best options right now because they're not the best options for the best guys. They're not going to be the first option. The first option is going to be like the Giants, for example, like the Giants with Jackson Dart and, all the pieces that they have on offense and defense. And, I could see a young coach be like, hey, I could work with that. Another offseason of adding talent and, Giants or even Tennessee, they got a young quarterback. I can see offense quarterback like, hey, I can work with that. I can work with Cam Ward. I can make that work. We just need another good offseason to add talent. Like, you see how like these other teams are probably most likely going to be better options than the Raiders because of the lack of talent. Obviously, they got probably more talent or they have a young QB or both. Yeah. So the Raiders are not going to have a lot of options. So they're going to be choosing from a pool of options where most likely it's not going to be the best of the best. And if that's the case, that guy is going to be the sacrificial lamb. He's going to be the Dennis Allen. And I'm not saying that the Raiders should look for Dennis Allen. I'm just saying like my expectation is this, like, hey, whoever they get, let him be in the building for 2 to 3 years, evaluate from there. If he's the guy, if he's not, then at least by that time, they have talent, enough talent and a quarterback. Let's not forget about there. Hopefully a talented quarterback that has shown some potential where, okay, the next guy coming in, I can work with this. And then lo and behold, it's 26-16 Raiders again. I'm not saying it's a perfect science, but I'm just saying like, that's the reality. Like you got to play the percentages. I'm not saying that the Raiders should get the best guy they can get. But the reality is that they have their options are going to be their options. Yeah. But the main priority should be adding a talent and getting a quarterback. And then let the pieces fall wherever they may. And then hopefully whoever they hire is the guy. If he's not, then we replace him. But right now, Pete is definitely not the guy. We have to move on because he's blocking. like he's stopping his team from really developing. Like he's not letting this is a good time for a lot of these young guys to get a lot of reps. Because we talked about, I don't know, you said, I don't know if you text me or sent me a message, and you were saying like, hey, look, this is valuable reps, because if it was any other season, let's say it's a competitive season, there's veterans in front of them or better players, a lot of young guys are not going to get a lot of reps like they can get right now at this very moment. Exactly. So, a lot of people are talking about the Raiders draft. I get it. But it's kind of an incomplete because we haven't really even seen him play, let alone you need to give it time as well. But we haven't, come on, like, why is Besh not getting in it? Like, I want to see, I gotta look at the snaps. I'm gonna look up the snaps for this game. Let me look that up.
Know what I'm probably dating myself a little bit, but you just talking about the coaches. I don't know. People like they gonna know how old I am now, but like back in the day, like Mad TV, they had this skit. It was like lowered expectations. Like lowered expectations. It's like a dating site where it's like the undesirables, basically. Like you gotta, like you can't get the normal people, so you gotta sell for these weirdos. But it's funny. Almost like, but see, and that's what makes Pete being so controlling and so like stubborn. That's what makes it bad, because like ideally, if you're just going to just have a guy just be like the fall guy. Like there's no need to fire Pete at that point. Hey, bro, just let Pete continue to be the fall guy. But he's the guy that wants to have control and have his hands in so many different pots that you can't really build the team correctly, because he's doing everything he can to sabotage it. And like I wasn't a huge fan of this draft, right? I gave it like a B minus, C plus, but like the media like it was like stellar grades. It was A's and B pluses, and people love this draft. So and the reason a lot of people love this draft is because the guys that we got, a lot of them look like they were going to be instant impact players, or people thought Genty was going to be instant impact, right? They thought Besh could come in and be instant impact. They thought Caleb Rogers, a lot of people like Caleb Rogers, thought he's a guy that can come in, even though he was a right tackle at Texas Tech, he could come in immediately and play guard. They kind of knew, that Charles Grant was a lot of people liked what they saw from the guy coming in.
Okay, I think we lost Severe. I don't think we get him back here. All right, we got you back. Got you back.
I know what happened.
Yeah. Finish your thought.
Yeah, I was saying like a lot of these guys, basically, a lot of rookie class look like they will be able to contribute, and they're not, and that's an issue, man. That's troubling.
Oh, we lost him again. Yeah, man. I didn't. I guess Genty for sure. Jack Besh definitely is a guy that people thought was going to contribute day one. Darian Porter, I would say, is a little bit of developmental, but I think everybody had belief that, Pete Carroll can get him ready. You good?
Yeah, man. It says stream destroyed. I was like, what?
That's crazy. That's wild, man. That's wild. Now, I was just saying that I agree. I think Genty was a guy that, like, all right, day one contributor. Jack Besh, a guy like, one of the things that one of the positives was him to be able to contribute early on, which we haven't seen, which for whatever reason, I don't know if he's one of those guys that got to compete for whatever reason. He got to compete to get snaps. I'm looking at the snap count here. I'm going to get into that in a second, but I was also talking about Darian Porter. Darian Porter was a guy that, even though we looked at him as a developmental guy, but we kind of believed in Pete to develop him and contribute a day one, because we've seen him doing it before with corners. Most recently, the corner that's currently Reek Woolen with the Seattle Seahawks, a guy that was a 4th, 5th round pick, not even a 3rd round pick, but same types of measurables, was able to be an impact rookie. So people kind of projected him to also contribute as well. And then you go to Dante Thornton and, Caleb Rogers and Grant. I wasn't expecting them to come in and like contribute right away. Hemingway, Pegues, maybe. You know, because we didn't really have like a whole lot of talent in front of them. And we thought maybe Christian Wilkins, maybe we're like, oh, okay, they're going to be part of the rotation. But then we didn't know what was the Christian Wilkins situation. Kind of like that was kind of the beginning of mayhem. But I'm looking at the snap count here. All right, let me look at it. Darian Porter played 15 snaps. So I don't know, my guy Kevin. I know you said he got into the game, but that's not good enough
at all.
So to put that in perspective, Kelly played 47. He played 70% of the snaps. That's not good enough, man. Let Porter get some snaps, bro. I want to see, is he going to be a starter next year? Like get him in the game. Let him start. You know how this is so valuable because you remember when and I know people are going to be like, oh, well, he's gone. He's not here no more. But a corner that we traded to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Jacorian Bennett?
Jacorian Bennett was a day one starter who we thought Darian Porter was because he was starting all off season. But Jacorian started that entire season and he had struggles. But he came back his second year. It looked really improved. Like really improved. But we all found out Jacorian Bennett, he couldn't stay healthy, and we get it. The injuries kind of, has been an issue in his career. But he came back to that second year really improved. Probably our best corner. He was our best corner that year. So my point is,
for sure.
Let Darian Porter start the rest of the season, and let that momentum go into the offseason, and then let him kind of establish himself as a starter next year, hopefully. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's going to stop the Raiders from addressing the cornerback position because we do need it. We need a guy or two because Stokes, is he coming back? I don't know. I know he's playing solid this year, but I don't know if he comes back. We need a nickel for sure. Like it's not even a question. But I'm looking at the snap count here. Darian Porter, obviously played 15 snaps. Let me look at some other guys here. Hemingway got in there. He got 38. Okay. Yeah. Got 38. That's cool. I like that. Pegues was inactive.
Yeah.
Pegues was inactive. I'm trying to see some other rookies in here. Besh, hey, guess what? Oh my, Besh. Man, I think this might be a season high right here. Besh got 9 snaps. That's not a season high, but that's bad. That's bad. Besh had 9 snaps. Tyler Lockett had 28. And Dante Thornton has 23. Tucker obviously dominated, the snap count at wide receiver. He had 58, which is understandable.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only
but yeah, bro, like I just let Besh play. I just want to see him play the rest of the season. Let these guys play. Like, is Jack Besh is he gonna have a role? Like, I want to see if he can develop himself this season and so it can go into next. Like I said, with same thing that I said about Darian Porter applies to guys like Jack Besh too. He was drafted, if we're being honest, he was drafted to be the replacement for Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and now Jacoby's gone. He's still not playing. So it's like, okay, now what's your reason? Because before the reason was, hey, how's he going to play? He can't play ahead of Jacoby. All right, Jacoby's one of our better receivers. He can't play in front of him. But Jacoby's gone now. So what's the excuse now? Right, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Oh, my bad. Let me address the super chats real quick. Zen Raider, man. Salute. Appreciate the super chat. He says, what if the next Dennis Allen was Dennis Allen? Oh my God. Oh man. You just said a cuss word to me, man. Nah, that would be ugly. He ain't falling for that twice, bro. He ain't falling for that twice. Yeah, that would be ugly, Zen. I'm not gonna lie, that would be super ugly. But like I said, man, right now, the way I'm looking at it, I guess I'm looking at it very
cutthroat and just calculative. I'm just like, hey, look, we need to get talent. Coaches, you know, you got to, hopefully you get lucky. I mean, because the Raiders haven't found a guy. I mean, they haven't been able to find a young guy, because that's what they really need. Like we've been kind of going with these retreads, you know, retreads, like these coaches that, you know, who've been coaches before. And not to say that they don't have any success. There are guys who've had success in their second stop, but we just haven't had any luck. Why don't we just go and try to see if we can find a young guy, first time head coach, whoever that is. I think, if anything, I know I said that they're not going to have the best options. And I remember I said this to you before. They might be able to get like a good defensive coach, because defensive coaches are hard. It's hard for them to get jobs compared to offensive head coaches. So they might be able to get the best of that. Yeah. You know what I mean? You just got to make sure that OC hire is unbelievable.
No, facts. I mean, the thing is that what might make it a little bit harder is that the success of, obviously we talk about Mike McDonald in Seattle, and then we see what my guy is doing down in Tampa Bay. I forget his name. Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles. Yeah. Todd Bowles is doing down in Tampa Bay. So, you know, teams might start looking at, hey, you know what? Maybe defensive coach is not as bad. Like they might start considering that now, just with the success of those two guys recently.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, I got another super chat here. Let me knock this out real quick, and then we're moving on. LS in the building, man. My guy, man. Appreciate the super chat. He says Seattle realized early that game had passed Pete by, and that should have been a big red flag for us, everyone in the top dog, until one day. Yeah, man. Yeah. Look. Look, I like to look sometimes for me, I look at history. And when I found out that Pete Carroll was going to be the oldest coach in NFL history, I didn't like that. I didn't like the Raiders' odds, because it's already hard for the Raiders. It's already hard for the Raiders to build a football team. It's already hard for the Raiders to develop football players. It's already hard for the Raiders to do anything to do with football and success on a football field. It's hard for them. So for them to get the oldest coach in NFL history, I just didn't like that combination. That's another reason why I didn't like the hire. I mean, it's all interconnected, but it was not like, it's just, I didn't like it at all. And the Raiders went ahead and they did it. And now they're learning the hard way. It's crazy. The smartest people be making the dumbest decisions. Like, right. I'm not here to argue that, like, I know more football than Tom Brady and all these guys. Like, this is what they do. I get, but why do they just, for whatever reason, Raiders just can't get it right? And hopefully they've learned a hard lesson with a guy like Pete Carroll, and they pivot and they go ahead and find a younger head coach. That Spytek plays a big part in getting, because, you know, I feel like that we're seeing the dynamic of having a GM, a coach who for the majority of his career has been the shot caller when it comes to roster control, and he's getting paid $15 million a year. So I'm sure he has some type of power in that building. I mean, you know, they drafted a running back high, and Dante Thornton, he's calling it like he thinks he's that guy that he was in Seattle doing whatever he wants to do. And like, it's going to be interesting, man, how the Raiders handle it, the Pete Carroll situation. But that's the reason why we shouldn't stay with Pete Carroll, because we all know the talent is not there. We're not saying that's Pete's fault, but it's just these other things. These are huge red flags, and the Raiders got to kind of nip it in the bud and like just find a young coach, and hopefully they do that this offseason, man. Salute to everybody pulling up. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Yeah, man, that's, you know, Raiders lose. Hopefully right now they're currently at the 6 overall draft. If the season ended today, they will have the six spot again, you know. And I'm not gonna lie, I think the Raiders might mess around and win next week at home against the Browns. But the way the offense is looking, man, Myles Garrett might have he might have 15
Oh.
sacks. He might have
Yo,
the most sacks in NFL. What's the most sacks in NFL history in the game? Is it 10?
Game.
Is it 10? I think it might be 10.
Is it 10? I
I'm gonna look
don't
that
know.
up. That's a little
I
fun
don't know.
fact, fun question here. What's the most sacks in a game?
'Cause he's had 5 already this year. I think he had 4 against the Ravens.
Derek Thomas.
How would he
Derek
put it? 10?
Thomas has the record November 11th for the Kansas City Chiefs, 1990. He recorded 7 sacks in one game.
7. Okay.
That's crazy.
Miles. No, what? Oh, because remember, didn't Chandler put up 6 in the game like week 1?
Khalil Mack was trying to go for the record that one time for the Chargers against the Raiders.
For Chargers, yeah.
Yeah, 6.
I think Chandler Jones put up 6 like one year too, with the Cardinals, like the first game of the year.
I think it was 5. Was it 6? Damn, 6.
Was it 5? Maybe it was 5. Maybe it was 5.
Even that's a lot. That's a lot though. That's crazy.
The Myles Garrett has already done it. 5. He already had 5. He had 4. He's going.
He might get the record, bro. I can see him get the record,
bro.
Because we can't run the ball. If they're gonna put out Putnam and Meredith, and that's another thing too. We didn't even talk about is the fact that it was so easy for them to put Meredith at guard and Putnam at center, but they couldn't put JPJ at center,
bro. Bro.
Oh man, that is funny. It's just all you can do is laugh at this point, man. It's not that funny, but it's all you can do is laugh. Just laugh.
It's disgusting, man. It's just the game. The games are being played, bro. The games are being played, and that's how you know, because rather than that's how you know they full of shit, bro. Because this whole time you've been talking about this battle that's been going back and forth between JPJ and Kappa. Now JPJ is hurt, and you don't even start Kappa. You start Jordan Meredith and put Will Putnam. It's bro, this is a waste, bro. This is they're wasting everybody's time. And we didn't even get into it. I guess we get into it now about Pete Carroll, right? Speaking of what we did offensively, Pete Carroll came out and said, "Hey, you know what? This offensive game plan, peekaboo, is my idea." What? This is your idea. You were and people keep saying this is what pissing me off. But everybody's like, man, you're paying Chip Kelly $6 million a year. You think he's just sitting back doing that? Bro, the man has both of this dude's son on the offensive staff. Do you think that's by coincidence? You think because he's not wielding influence? The 4 most important positions in terms of the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball are all staffed by either Pete Carroll's son or a guy that worked with Pete Carroll in Seattle. That's not a coincidence. Now, he just came out and just laid it bare. He said, yo, this game plan, it's all me, big dog. It's all me. I did that. What you gonna do about it? Right? Ain't nobody doing nothing, bro. And look, it's just how I got on Spy Tech about being spineless and basically backing down and capitulating, bro. Chip Kelly, the same way, bro. You gotta put your foot down. You gotta sack up, bro, and let this dude know, look, I'm the offensive coordinator. I'm calling the shots. This is what I want to do on offense. This is how we gonna run it. I want to run this. I want to run that. This is what we gonna do from now on. Especially, bro, you've been seeing we're losing. We're losing.
It was working. It was working as far as getting explosive plays, but it was like boom or bust. And as soon as they got to the red zone, that's when they got exposed. Exactly. Obviously red zone area is a confined area. They're not going to have. Now you got to run the ball. Now you got to do some other things. And every time they went to the red zone, they got sacked, and the rest is history. End up settling for field goals. And there was no balance at the end of the day. You can't live like that. Eventually the teams they're too good, NFL. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, they're going to catch up to it. Yeah. Even and that's the one thing about the Raiders. And I know the Cowboys added talent and this, that, and the third. I get it. But look, they've been one of the worst defense in the NFL for the majority of the league. And it's just another example of the Raiders they can't take advantage of opponent weaknesses. Yeah. And that's a sign of just a bad team, a bad offense. They can't like I know they added that D tackle from the Jets. I'm not going to downplay that. Like,
and then Overshown being back. Overshown is a dog too. Overshown being back, that was huge too. I didn't even know he was coming back. So
yeah.
And then Deron Bland as well. So
yeah, and then you combine that with the issues we have with the offensive line. Like, we got guys there. I don't even think Raider fans knew who Putnam was until this game. Meredith obviously got moved to guard, and
right
Forsythe is the starting left tackle, who has actually been better than I thought.
Yeah,
I mean, he hasn't been like
the bar was very low though.
Yeah, the bar is low. But I was thinking like, man, it's gonna be terrible. Like,
he's gonna look like Will Putnam.
Yeah, like, but maybe a lot of the issues are so bad in the interior that like it's probably like not, like no one's looking at Forsythe right now because Parham and Putnam are struggling, and it is what it is. But it was probably a bad combination with the Dallas Cowboys having their strength being on the inside and on the defensive line. But it is what it is. Jay says Besh is getting snapped, just not enough targets. 9 snaps.
Yeah, 9, bro. That's
9, man. Come on, man.
And then and is that timeout though? Is that all offense? That's just offensive snaps or just snaps total? Some of those snaps could be special teams.
Yep.
So that is even lower.
Yep.
And while you look for that, I just like to end with the game plan, right? Like, not necessarily that I disagree with the game plan, because we couldn't run the ball, right? We weren't getting any traction in the run game. I just disagree with a coach just commandeering the entire offensive game plan. Like you should have input, you should have some say, but you to just say, hey, no, this is what we're doing. Like, that's not how things should be being ran.
So Jack Besh had 9 offensive snaps and he had 11 special team snaps. So a total of 20 snaps. Okay. 20, but 11 on special teams, 9 on offense. But 9 on offense is just not going to be enough, man. Not going to lie. For a second rounder, for Jacoby Myers to get traded and you're still getting 9, like, that's just, what are we doing? Tyler Lockett, who wasn't even here until like a couple weeks ago. Jack Besh has been here damn near the entire offseason, starting from the draft through training camp till now. Like, he has, I would think, a good probably understanding of the playbook. He's been in that offense.
Chemistry with Gino, you would think.
Maybe it's a sign of him not being ready. Maybe, but I don't know, man. It just smells like, just a disconnect between the draft class and the coaching staff and the GM. It's just like, what are we doing? Like, I just don't get it, man. It's like, but coaches like to go with veterans though. It is what it is, for the most part. Pete. A lot of coaches like to go, and I thought, Pete was, when he gave certain, that's the weird thing. He gave certain guys, like, just like Dante Thornton. It's like, oh yeah, let him get every snap. He was getting every snap. Like, it dropped. It's not the same. It's not where it's been. But I thought Dante was gonna. Yeah, man.
I thought he was gonna take a huge step back. He's gonna take a huge step back in terms of. But like you said, but this goes back to what we were saying before. Who's the guy that comes in? We trade Jacoby. And who's the guy that immediately steps in and takes Jacoby's spot? It's a Pete Carroll guy. It's like we know who's calling the shots. We know who's making the moves. We know who's in control of this team. So we can point the finger everywhere else all we want to, and everybody plays their part, and everybody has something to do with how bad we are. But but it's Pete Carroll, man. It's Pete Carroll.
Yeah. Ricky says our veterans are assed up. That's the crazy part. They're not good. So it's like, and maybe we seen against that Denver Broncos game, we seen some, like, the rookies making rookie mistakes, Dante Thornton, but it's like the coaching staff, I don't know what it is. Their patience for it is extremely low, and I get it. I don't like that either, but I'm at a point where I'm like, hey, we're 2-8, 2-7. Like, let these guys get through, like, coach them up, get them ready. You know what I mean? Let them learn that they can't do that, and just continue to let them go through their growing pains. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that at all. They rather go with some vets that been there, done that, but they're not good enough. Like you said, man, that's a great point. Ah, man. Doesn't Thornton only have 2 routes?
Yeah.
He had the third most snaps at wide receiver. Trey Tucker had 58. Tyler Lockett, the guy that joined the team 2 weeks ago, 28. 28 snaps. And then Dante Thornton, 23. And then right after that, Jack Besh with 9. So, man, crazy work. But to your point about, Pete Carroll influencing the game plan, like, yeah, that's just not. It's just this just adds another layer to, like, yeah, man, Pete needs to go, man. Pete needs to go, because there was no rhyme or reason. It just felt like they were doing the same thing over. Oh, this keeps working. We'll just keep doing play. Then it felt like they kept doing play action like every play.
Kept doing play action. And it's like at some point you actually have to have some success running the ball for it to work. It's only so much time you're going to, like, flinch at somebody and not hit them for they're going to be like, all right, I'm just going to stand here.
Yeah. It's funny too, because I gotta rewatch the red zone when they get to the red zone. But shout out to Marcus from Tape Don't Lie. He pointed out it's crazy, like, when the play action was working to get him there, to get him to the red zone, but as soon as they get to the red zone, they stop doing play action. That's the Raiders offense for you this year, man. It's just kind of been out of whack, out of sorts. It's been off, man. It's been off, but
and we still almost got a touchdown out of the red zone. I think if it wasn't for miscommunication between Trey Tucker and Geno, he would have had a touchdown on, I think it was on our second series. And then obviously we know he had that little screen pass. We scored the touchdown.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know how you feel about this, but I think it was right before the half or somewhere near there. Or I felt like the Raiders, they ended up kicking a field goal. So I don't know if it was it was second half or the end of the first half. Geno on third down throws the ball to Brock. And if he threw it, like, if it was a little bit more accurate, Brock Bowers kind of did a good job of boxing out the defender. And we all know Brock Bowers got good ball skills. I think he would have got that touchdown.
Yeah. I think in that situation, I mean, I think Geno meant to throw that pass where he threw it to, because usually in those routes, you try to throw it to the pylon, put it in a place where you don't want to Seattle it, where, hey, Brock, the ball, the defender hits the ball, it pops up in the air or something like that. So usually, like you see a lot of those routes, right? It's usually like thrown to the pylon, and where the guy, hey, they make it, they're going out of bounds to catch the ball, and that's how they make the pass. So I think that's what he intended for Brock to do, and obviously Brock would have the intention that, hey, you know what, I got the guy, hey, just give me the ball, turn right around, the throw's on me, I fall down, catch the pass. I think he wanted Brock to kind of work his way to that pylon. So, again, it's miscommunication on offense. If we saw it with a pass to Trey Tucker, where you're expecting Trey Tucker to sit in a certain spot in the back of the end zone. Trey kind of sat somewhere else, and then, he couldn't get his hands on the pass. And the same thing with Brock Bowers, where, he was expecting Brock to do something else. Brock did a different thing, and then that's just been the theme this year. That's been the thing.
Yeah. That's a good point, because obviously I think he threw a pick in the first half, right? I think he threw a pick in the first half.
The tip pass. Yeah, that's the thing I sent you. The man was like, Peyton was like, no.
Yeah, because he tried to squeeze it in there. He tried to, like, get it in there, but he had Genty, like, wide open. But that's been Geno all year. It just seems off. Like, everything about him this year has just been off. I mean, maybe it's just Geno maybe hitting that. Maybe it's that time where he hit his ceiling, and he's getting old, But it just, everything seems off. Like, his decision making is off. one of the things that this is supposed to be a huge strength of Geno, his accuracy's been off. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, like I said, Seattle, hey, Geno had 15 interceptions last year. So John Schneider was like, hey, yeah, this is not going to get any better. He evaluated that whole situation because he didn't basically you know how Spytek treated Jacoby Myers? That's how John Schneider treated it. Like, he was like, yeah, we need to get something done. Like, he waited to the last second until like, obviously the Raiders came calling and they got the trade. But he played that pretty smooth, man. Shout out to John Schneider, man. He seems like he's one of the best GMs in the league. You can put him up there. Jason, I put Jason Light and Les Snead and Harry Roseman in like their category. But like John Schneider, he's been doing it for a while, man. He's been doing it a while, so we got to give him credit, especially. Now he's going to be able. Now he's building that team in Seattle right now. So you got to give him credit. Let's get to flag on the play. Here we go.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
So what we got this week on flag? Well, I feel like we got a few. We got a few.
I know the first one. This was the most egregious one. And I know earlier we were talking about wide receivers, and we're talking about Bengals wide receivers, and them having the best wide receiver in the wide receiver duo in the league, tandem in the league. They're gonna be short one guy because he did something egregious this past week.
Oh yeah. Let me see if I can share this. You sent this earlier, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This was Jamar Chase. Let's see if I can get this going here. Oh yeah. Can you see it?
No.
All right. Hold on. Just bear with me, man. If you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're just joining us, we're about to put on the flag on the play this week, and it's Jamar Chase, man, and Jalen Ramsey kind of go at it here. And I'm about to play a clip showing it. It's the second time this happened too. This is crazy this season. What's going on,
yeah.
man? That's super disrespectful to spit on somebody.
Yeah, bro.
That, man, not gonna lie, man. Ramsey should have got suspended. Ramsey should have got suspended. He should have got suspended. He should have did something enough. He should have got suspended. But
see what Tomlin said?
Tomlin? What did he say?
Yeah. They asked him about, hey, what do you think about like Jalen Ramsey? Do you wish he would have, removed himself from the situation, or you wish some of his teammates would remove him from the situation? He's like, look, man, when somebody spits in your face, like, you got to go with your natural reaction. You go with your natural reaction. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's some real stuff right there. So here's the clip, and here we go. Here's Ramsey. They talking some smack right here to play. They spit
you see it right there,
dude, right there.
It's so obvious, bro.
Yeah, he would have had every right to go crazy on him. Not gonna lie.
Every right, bro.
Right there, you spit it again. Like, see that close up?
It's crazy. That's bro. Like, in different setting, bro. People have lost their lives for less than that.
So Jalen Carter was the one. He spit on somebody this year. It was
Dak. It was Dak. But Dak had spit on him first. But they only caught Jalen Carter. So Dak had did it first, and then when Jalen Carter did it back, then I would say this: Dak spit like at him. I don't know if it actually hit him, but he spit at him. So Jalen Carter spit on Dak, and they only caught Jalen Carter. I think that was like week 1.
And Jamar Chase tried to deny it too. So Flag gonna play Jamar Chase, but he tried to deny it because he didn't think the cameras. You're in the NFL, buddy. The cameras are everywhere.
Everywhere. And not to
Flag
mention
play
the
Jamar
thousands
Chase,
of cameras in the stands. Not only do you got multiple cameras from the NFL and the league, there are hundreds of thousands of cameras in the stands from these fans, bro. Like, you can't get away with. We caught Gardner Minshew eating a booger on the sideline. You think we ain't gonna catch you spitting on somebody on the field?
Yeah. Especially you. Come on, you're talking to Jalen Ramsey, you're Jamar Chase. Like, they're gonna want to. They're gonna want to videotape that interaction because like you guys are premier players at the position. So
exactly.
Yeah, man. Flag on the play on Jamar Chase, man, for spitting the second. I mean, I can't even remember. Has this happened? I mean, I feel like this happened before, but I don't remember outside of this season. I'm trying to think.
I'm sure it's happened before, bro.
I just don't remember. I don't remember it happening before, but this is crazy. Second time this year. I mean, this is super disrespectful. This one was kind of like you said, man, this was kind of like out of nowhere. I mean, they probably were like jawing at each other the entire game. I don't know. Maybe Ramsey probably did something dirty. I don't know. Like, just to play devil's advocate, maybe what led to this, but spitting, that's a flag, man. We got to call it like we see it, man. But we're not done. We are not done. We got another flag on the play. And I know earlier we were talking about some of the flags. Like we have to get a flag to the Seattle Insider from The Athletic. We had to give him a flag on a play for the hype. He's a floor raiser. We're gonna have to play that clip. I'm gonna have to find that clip. I think I posted that on X or something like that. I'm gonna have to search for that. But he's like, Pete Carroll's a floor raiser. Yeah, man.
That interview with The Athletic. Yeah, I gotta find that.
Right. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually enjoyed that interview because he had like a lot of nuggets about like, his time with Seattle. He talked about he hyped up Geno. Oh.
Bro, yes.
He talked about Geno like he was gonna be the best thing since sliced bread. Like he was gonna be
everybody
the next guy.
Bro. Everybody did. Like when we first traded for Geno, both me and you were kind of like, cool, he's an upgrade, but Geno Smith, and then we started hitting like I in particular, I probably saw more of it than you. I started seeing like what the film guys were saying about Geno and like and the analytics guys, and they, and I'm watching the PFF and I'm watching Ted Wynn and I'm watching like all these analytics people, and they're like, Geno Smith, this guy, he's the top deep ball passer. He's the most accurate quarterback over the past 3 years, and his big time throw rate is this. And when he's throwing the ball over 20 yards, he's by far the most accurate. And and then I heard all that. I'm like, well, damn, okay, we got us one.
Coach got a question for you. He says, Vera, what would you do if someone spit on you and they bench 500 pounds and was 7 feet tall?
So, Coach, as you know, I'm assuming you a brother. I think you from the Midwest. Your brother from the Midwest. How tall somebody is and how much they bench has nothing to do with how well they can fight.
Why Coach got to paint that picture like that, man? That's wild, man.
Hey, how tall they are and how much they bench has nothing to do with how much they can fight. That's first of all. And second of all, I will make sure they never spit on me again. Well, will I make it out alive? I don't know, but I will make sure that they never spit on me again.
Tribe, I respect it, man. Yeah, man, that's super disrespectful. You guys stand for something. I think Bill Romanowski spit on a couple of people. I could believe that. Bill Romanowski was crazy. He was crazy. He was I don't know why. Every time I think of
Trace
Bill
Armstrong
Romanowski,
probably did too, though. Trace Armstrong probably spit on some people. He was another crazy dude.
Probably defense tackle. I don't know why. Every time I think of Bill Romanowski, I just think about like his last days with the Raiders. Remember what he did to old boy on the practice squad, or not at that time, not practice squad, but he was like on the team. It was like a scout.
He was a brother too, wasn't it?
Bro, man, his whole left side of his face was just swollen.
Yeah.
Man. It was crazy. It's kind of ruthless. But let's see. Best doesn't get a lot said, but he has hands. He had 20-yard pass last game. He did have.
That was a road rage. He was coming off the cycle. It was upset.
No, I mean Romanowski. When you hear him talk, he sounds like it's something off, bro. I'm not gonna lie, but he talks.
He sounds like somebody busted his windpipe. It's like something like.
Tyson says Best doesn't get a lot of snaps, but he has hands. He has 20. Yeah, that 20-yard pass. I thought it was gonna be a sign of more to come. I was like, oh, I like that. Get him involved. And he actually looked like he had some wheels. Like he looked like he could, I don't want to say he's fast, but it was more than I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Man, like he got a couple blocks. He probably could have did more than that, but
yeah. That was a good play.
Oh, man.
That was a good play design. They got him running, and they got they had the motion going the other way. Got him running this way. Caught the ball in stride. We was able to run after the catch. Like I thought that was a good play design. Like they never went to him again.
Never went to him again, man. That's just been the story of the season for some of these young rookies. But we're not done with flag on the play. We got another flag on the play, man. We got
another flag on the play. I mean, we can go with, this one particularly stung. The end of the Lions and Eagles games. Obviously, that was my upset pick in the Lions, and they're staging the comeback. They needed to stop and to get the ball back, and our old guy, I forget his name. It was Rocky Sin. Rocky Sin got hit with one of the worst pass interference calls I've ever seen in my life.
All right, so let me set this up here in just a second. All right, let me know if you can see it here.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, perfect. So here we go. So he's calling pass interference on the defense, which is Detroit. And let's see what it looks like here.
This is the worst pass interference I've ever seen. Look at this. And look, AJ Brown pushes him.
That's ruthless. Yeah, that's crazy.
And they caught it on Rocky Sin, bro. Like that, if anything, that's offensive pass interference. If anything, he's in good position, but both kind of little hand fighting. AJ Brown pushes off on him. He goes backwards. And I was like, man, there goes my.
I don't know what do refs be thinking when they be making calls like this. Like, do they ever? Sometimes I'll be like, they'll like they'll meet up together and try to get it right. But sometimes when they be like, yo, they stand on these types of calls,
bro.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, how do you?
At all. And that's one thing I will say, because Bill Belichick, for a while, he was always saying penalties should be able to be reviewed. And obviously, the NFL doesn't want to do it because you don't want to slow. They don't want to extend the games longer, right? They already feel the games are long enough. They want to shorten the games as much as possible, make them more digestible. But like in a situation like this, bro, like I would say, like if it's like a last like 2-minute situation, or even like if you want to go like last 5 minutes of a game, you make penalties reviewable, even if it's a review that's triggered by New York, where it's like, okay, we're going to take a look at this. Because in this situation, the officials should have conferred. They're like, oh, man, hey, let's huddle up. Let's talk about this. Let's get this right. Because this is a game with great implications. There are two teams, two of the better teams in NFC. This could affect seeding, which could affect the team's ability to get into the Super Bowl or have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Like all this stuff matters. And for you to basically decide a game on this call, it's terrible. And it's terrible.
Yeah, man, it's a terrible call. Terrible call. I don't care as much because it's not, it has nothing to do with the Raiders. But if it was the Raiders, man, I'd be talking about this for like days. I mean, I still think about the Tuck Rule game, man. Like, as a Raider fan, we've like experienced a lot of these types of calls, terrible calls. It's funny. I think it was like about a month ago. I seen something where like. Where how like like it's not obviously talked about enough because obviously it wasn't like a huge game, but it was such a bad call, and I forgot. Was it? I think it was Lewis Murphy. It was a Lewis Murphy touchdown that they took away and said it wasn't a touchdown. You remember that?
I don't remember that.
It might have been with Gradkowski at. Was it Gradkowski or Jamarcus? Might have been. See, it's not one of those like memorable, but if I show you the play, you'd be like, oh yeah. Where he literally scored a touchdown and then like he kind of celebrated all in one move, but it was like he clearly got the touchdown, and then they try to say it wasn't a touchdown. I think this might have been the same year where they were like they were taking away touchdowns away. Remember they took away a touchdown a Calvin Johnson that year.
Calvin Johnson, they were doing like the like not holding the ball or not controlling the ball through the catch. Okay. Yeah, I remember that Calvin Johnson one was famous. That Calvin Johnson, that one was like, oh, it's crazy. That's when they really started doing it. It was like, oh, like what? This clearly caught the ball. Like, this what we doing now?
It might have been that year. I mean, it feels like it might have been around that year. But I remember I seen that. I'm like, man, I completely forgot about this. Like, but it just adds to how many bad calls there was. I mean, obviously everybody remembers the little index card dude smirking, using index card saying
exactly.
Man, that
First
was terrible.
down.
Man, that was bad.
That was disgusting.
That was bad, man. So it's as a Raider fan, we've seen plenty of bad calls. This is bad though. This is terrible. And this was on fourth down.
Right here to look at him.
Was this on fourth down or third down?
I think it's on third. I want to say.
Yeah. But the Eagles end up winning, right? Yeah, Eagles win the game. So
Eagles won. Yeah, that's the whole point because they
won because of that. Yeah, they won that because
exactly. They was able to basically kill the clock after that.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. Yeah, flag on the play, literally, flag on the play. But yeah, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. Is that all the flags on play for today?
That's all of them.
Okay.
But just honorable mention, if anybody's watching the South Carolina versus Texas A&M game, I think we all saw the state trooper. That was just another honorable mention. I tried to keep it, in the NFL for this week, but that one was egregious.
Oh, that was terrible. He went out of his way.
Yeah, he put his elbow out. He went out of his way.
He went out of his way, and the player was actually trying to avoid him. And and like you said, he put out his elbow out, and then like as soon as he bumped, he turned around, he got that finger out and was talking all types of trash or all types of stuff. I don't know, you know what I mean? Probably South Carolina special. But yeah, man.
LS did send me one too. LS did send me one about
what LS said?
LaFleur. When they talk about LaFleur, he's like, yeah, I don't talk to kickers. Did you see that?
LaFleur said that?
Yeah.
Like the head coach of the Packers says, I don't talk to kickers? That's hella goofy. Damn. He basically was like, that's below my pay grade. That's below my pay grade. That's basically what he said. Like, I ain't got no time talking to kickers. That's crazy. And
that was a great game.
That might be a shot at would you say that might be a shot at Bisaccia? Because I think people are kind of Bisaccia might not be. He might get fired.
Might be an outs.
Like I think he's under fire over there. The special teams, I guess this season hasn't been as good. You know what I'm saying? So if the season goes left, he might go. And if Bisaccia is available, hey, I wouldn't mind Bisaccia as a
special teams coordinator.
Yeah, the special teams coordinator. That's it, man. He did have that Cinderella story, man. We got to give him. You know what I mean? You probably could have said like it would have been nice to give him another season, but
yeah,
just because they went to the playoffs, like he led that team to the playoffs. Like you gotta like that. Like if anything, you gotta reward that. You gotta see like, is there something there? Oh, okay, it wasn't something there. Okay, cool. And then you just, but he like that's the thing about Mark. It's just like like what are you doing? Like
Yeah.
Let's capitalize. Like, you just messed up that whole.
Call it lightning in the bottle, and you let it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. But we're not done yet. We got notable quotables. This is where we pull up quotes that we find interesting, and we have a conversation about. Severe, what's the first quote? What's the quote that we got for today?
The first quote is, and I've been peeping back and forth in the chat, and it's kind of been the theme for today. A lot of people have been throwing it in there, but your guy in mind, not playing that. Everybody's favorite, Geno Smith. Obviously post game, he pulled out the tried and true, the Derek Carr special. It's like, you can put it all on me. You can blame Geno.
So hold up, is this did you send this?
Now, I thought you didn't have it.
I hold on, I can probably get it. Hold on.
Get it. I can find it real quick. I thought I reposted it, but yeah.
I got it. Shout out to my guy, Raider Resistance. I think he got it right here. So
Okay, man.
Right. If it don't look right, blame it on me. That's all you can do. Blame it on me. If your kids mess up at school, blame it on me. Car break down going to work, blame it on me. I keep saying this, man.
Gino, you referenced them daring you guys to run the ball. In the first half, there was 31 passes, 3 sacks, but 28 passes, and only 3 runs. Do you have the liberty when they're daring you to do that, to check into a run or to audible into a run?
Yeah, I mean, you can check into any play at any time, but would that be the right thing to do? Would you just go off script and just start calling your own plays? I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I think the right thing to do is to do what we practice and what we're coached to do. And like I said, the plays are there. I don't think there was any issue with the play calling. The plays are there. Guys were open. You guys watch the film. I know we got a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks who like to watch film and take screenshots and see where guys are open. So I'm sure you guys will see where the guys were open. For me, again, I just got to play better. And I keep saying this, man. If something don't look right out there, blame it on me, right? If it don't look right, blame it on me. That's all you can do. Blame it on me. If your kids mess up at school, blame it on me. Car break down going to work, blame it on me.
Oh man, it's a little bit of like kind of like throwing some shots there at people who are criticizing them and stuff like that. But like, bro, you're not playing good, bro. It is
at
what
all,
it is.
bro.
You're not playing good at all. And I get it. He's like frustrated, and everybody's kind of criticizing him. And I know he's working hard and he's trying to get it right, and it's just not working out. But the bottom line, he's just not playing well, and the Raiders most likely are going to be moving on after this year, most likely. And the only reason why I say most likely is because they can get out of his contract without owning him any money, guarantee any money from his contract after next season.
Yeah.
So they can keep him and then draft a rookie and then have like an open competition, or let him play until the rookie's ready, and then you hand it off to the rookie and get him like kind of like a Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson situation, or or he wins it out straight up in that's best case scenario. Like he just wins the position outright in training camp, which is fine too.
Like a Russell Wilson, like a Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn situation.
Yeah, basically, man. But yeah, man, that's kind of my take on it. Is like he just sounds kind of salty about the whole situation, and he's kind of sound like that for a little bit, and we've kind of seen. And he cleaned up his body language from the last game. I think last game, that Denver game, and the games before previous to that, he was just man after every play just yapping and just doing the most. Like this game, I didn't feel like I seen that same Geno. I think he calmed it down. Maybe the coaches, someone talked to him a little bit, but I don't know if you remember him yapping as much this game compared to like previous games.
I don't remember him yapping as much, but that could be because we were having some early success offensively. We got into the red zone. Obviously, one time we got into the red zones because we caused the fumble on defense. But I think the drive after that, we got into the red zone again as well. So we were able to kind of move the ball a little bit better early on. Mm-hmm. So maybe that calmed his nerves a little bit. So he wasn't as antsy and wasn't as angry. But like people point to the Mostert thing. Mostert messed up. Like you got to like when you mess up that badly, especially when on what could have been like a potential touchdown, like you kind of got to call the guy out. Now, obviously, Geno, like when you throwing 15 interceptions, like bro, you got it don't sound right necessarily coming from you, especially if you're not willing to take criticism yourself. So if people calling you out and you're not taking it like a man or taking it on the chin, when people criticize you, then that message don't land right. But people messing up, you still got to call them out, man. You still got to call them out. So
you got to call them out, but I feel like a great communicator, a great leader, kind of knows who he's talking to and how to talk to him. You know what I mean? Certain guys, you got to be in their face, and certain guys, like, hey, you just pull them to the side. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's a great sign of a great. That's a great communicator. And certain people, if you yell at like people who don't know how to receive that well, then the outcome is just not. It's not gonna. You're not gonna get the results you're looking for.
No, that's 100% true.
But yeah, like but it's funny though. I remember I seen like some with John Gruden, and he was like he was talking about how him and Derek Carr used to work, and he would tell Derek like, hey Derek, I'm about to chew you out this meeting. I'm gonna like get on your ass, so then you get on the team. Like so they would play these types of mind games. So then like when he wants certain results or he wants his leader to basically do something that he's sending the message, but he wants him to send the message to the team. Yeah. So you know what I mean? I don't know if that's Pete. I don't know if that's coming from Pete. I think that's all Geno, but it is what it is. But
it's all Geno.
But we're not done yet. We got another notable quotable. What we got? What we got right now?
So obviously the talk of the town, the talk of the nation, was our run game. Obviously we drafted Genty very high. Everybody knows how I feel about Genty, not only the pick, but the player. And I take a lot of heat for it. I still continue to take heat, because Genty he can do no wrong to some people. But I have some people who they're starting to sound a lot like somebody you guys all know and some of you love. They starting to sound like your boy, basically. And we're going to go ahead and roll the clip.
Is a good player, but he's not the sixth pick in the draft. You take that guy if you got everything you need, but you rewarded him as if he was one of those transformational running backs. He's not.
When you watch him play in college, obviously what he was able to do at Boise State, it was phenomenal. He had a phenomenal season, but it's much different as opposed to coming into the NFL, especially when you go to a team that is bad as the Raiders are. You have to be that much more special.
Hey, Ocho, I got a house, and the house ain't that spiffy. I just got a $35,000 couch. I ain't got no TVs. I ain't got no bedroom furniture. I ain't got no living room furniture. They needed too much to spend that pick on that guy. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the Raiders are going to go in the draft this year and get a quarterback?
What you think? I'm not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And guess what? Guess who? Well, they probably would have screwed him up. He wouldn't have been what he is. Jackson Dart.
Hey.
Ocho, the Raiders they're so bad. They need so many things. If I'm Max Crosby, I want to get out. He's not going to win there.
It's unfortunate. Raiders, they need a lot. It's going to be a long time because you understand how long it takes to build a team.
Whew, man, that was Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, man, Chad Johnson, kind of going in on the Raiders. But I mean, I didn't see any lies. There weren't really any lies what they were saying. I mean, as far as, all right, look, this is where I stand with Genty, because I know people are like, oh man, like you're a Genty guy. I want Genty to be successful with the Raiders, straight up, through and through. But at the end of the day, I just want to put this on the record, because everybody's kind of just, I already know like the narrative is like, oh yeah, here goes Pharaoh. You know what I mean? He's going to defend Genty. But at the end of the day, I did want to go with an offensive lineman or address the offensive line with the 6th overall pick. whether that was, Membu, whether that was Kelvin Banks. Will Campbell's already drafted at that point. I wasn't really looking at anybody on defense. I really wanted to go offensive line. Maybe I was warming up to the idea of, T-Mac at wide receiver. You know what I mean? That could have been a possibility, obviously. But man, it's tough. It's tough to argue with them, and obviously when you look at the results, like right now, like the Raiders are struggling, and the Raiders got a whole lot of needs. Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I'm good at doing that. I'm gonna go ahead and play devil's advocate. The Raiders could have looked at it as a situation when they drafted Genty as we need talent. Forget premium positions. Premium positions. The Raiders need talent. They need talent. And on top of that, they didn't want to draft a guy where they felt someone on the board was a better player. So in this case, they felt that player was Genty. And by all, accounts, everybody looked at Genty as one of the best prospects at running back, the number one running back on everybody's board, one of the best players in the draft. Now, obviously, your argument and what we talked about and why, I was like, we should probably go offensive line is that, like, running back is not a premium position. You probably can get one later. And you can draft an offensive lineman in the first round, probably get a running back in the second or third round, whatever the case may be. But the Raiders didn't want to go that route. It was conservative in that they didn't want to get a player that they felt lesser than the guy that was on the board and the guy that they valued and felt like it was a better player, and that was Genty. And they looked at it from perspective, they needed talent. The Raiders need talent. So even if they got offensive lineman and a running back within the first two picks, would you can argue, would that have changed anything with this season?
Well, let people tell it.
You got to think about it. I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
You would have to think about it like, man, the way the season's going, it's like, man, it doesn't look too good. But
so
hindsight is 2020. Right now, we know that Membu is, I think, looking good with the Jets, and I think Kelvin Banks is playing well with the Saints. But at the time, at 6, people weren't really projecting Kelvin Banks at number 6, and Membu was a guy that was a late riser.
I personally didn't want Membu. That's full disclosure. I don't try to twist that around. But Membu would have been great. I was off. No, I didn't want Membu. I made clear why I didn't want Membu. But I also understood, and I think you kind of brought it to my attention. I talked about it last night on my live, where I think you brought up the point where a lot of people were comparing, just in terms of their measurables and their athleticism. They were comparing Membu to Tristan Wirfs, who was a guy I believe in college was a right tackle that came to the NFL and converted to left tackle eventually, and turned into one of the best left tackles in the league. And who was there to see all that transformation happen? Oh, it was John Spytek. So that's why it kind of started to make sense why we were hearing about Membu for us. And I didn't want that. I would have been okay with Kelvin Banks. I thought Kelvin Banks, hey, put him at right tackle, slide Glaze in at guard. We're kind of set. We got Colt, we got Miller, we got Meredith, we got JPJ, we got Glaze, and we got Kelvin Banks. I'd have been cool with that. Obviously, I was a guy that I wanted Teteroa or I wanted Will Johnson at 7. But obviously, and both of those guys have performed fantastically, right? I think Teteroa is the second in the league in terms of I think he has the most. I might not second league in terms of rookie receiving. I think he might be leading rookie receivers in touchdowns. We all know how Will Johnson was.
Who's leading rookie receivers right now?
Igbuka.
Oh, Buka, yeah. I don't know. I got to look at that. He might be number
even though
one.
He's been hurt. Even though he's been hurt, I think
he was at 600 yards. Let me check his. I'll check it. Bro.
He's at 7-something. They're both in the 7s, and nobody else, no other rookie receiver, no other rookie receiver has more than 300. So gotcha. They're both playing fantastic. Obviously both those guys. There was a world where we could have had both Teteroa and Will Johnson. Obviously, that still wouldn't have addressed our offensive line issues. We didn't know our offensive line, and in defense of the Raiders, we didn't know our offensive line was going to be this bad, just because down the stretch of last season, it actually looked like the unit started to gel a little bit, and we were expecting a leap from JPJ and expecting a leap from Glaze as well. But in the deepest run, and I understand the argument about all talent. Hey, you want to just grab, Genty. It was a position we felt was a position in need.
Real quick, because I want to be clear on what I meant when I said the Raiders need talent. The Raiders need to stack talent. Like they're in a talent deficit, so they need to stack talent. Yeah. So when we look back at these drafts, we're gonna look at like how many starters did we get from this draft? How many depth pieces did we get from this draft? So far we know that Genty's a starter. Everybody else is a question mark because we gotta let it play out and hopefully they develop into that, but we don't know yet. But my point is the Raiders are in a talent deficit and they need starters, and they were conservative. They went for a guy, even though from a value perspective, it would have made sense to maybe grab a guy later, but they were like, nah, we want to make sure we hit on this pick, especially at Spytech. We argue who made that pick. We've said it's probably Pete Carroll, but then Spytech is in the building too. You know what I mean? And I'll give this Spytech credit because a lot of people kind of for whatever reason, they're like, I mean, I get it. This season has been terrible and everybody needs to be held accountable for it. But I don't know why. I'm not out on Spytech. I'm not either. I like some of the moves. I like how he's been able to get some of the value out of trades. I like when GMs say, like the GM for the Jaguars, when he came out and said, like, we didn't know what Spytech was going to do. Like, he played his cards close to vest to the point where he was able to maximize the value in the trade and get a 4th round pick and a 6th round pick. I like that Todd McShay was like, man, like, I didn't see the Raiders drafting Genty. Like, he thought that the Raiders were going to draft Kelvin Banks because that's the smoke that he was able to put right before the draft. So things like that in years past, though, bro, like, I feel like everybody was able to predict the Raiders picks, even though technically they did predict the Raiders pick because a lot of mock drafts said the Raiders were going to go Genty. But that smoke screen in the end, I like stuff like that. I'm like, okay, little, you know what I mean? There, obviously we need to get talent at the end of the day. that's what matters. But he's showing some signs of like, okay, all right, you're holding your own as far as being a GM and having a poker face. But go ahead, bro. Yeah. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah.
No, you good. Now, I was gonna say, it was just to play devil's advocate a little bit on that part. Maybe the plan the entire time was to draft Kelvin Banks, and maybe there was last minute switcheroo where some people pulled rank and said, you know what, that's not what I need a weapon. I want to win now, and they went in a different direction. So, But the thing is, and you made a point about stacking talent, and I totally agree, and I understand that just in terms of where they were ranked, going into the draft and as prospects, right? Genty, a running back, was a position of need, and Genty was the best player on the board. Yet and still, in the deepest running back draft class possibly ever, in a lot of people's opinions, you have other opportunities to get impact running backs later on in the draft. We see, just second round, we see what Travion is doing. We see what Bashel Tootin is doing. We see what Quinshon Judkins is doing. Ollie Gordon is playing well at times. We see a lot of these other guys that are making contributions. And when you need so many other things, like what you can afford to do, obviously you want to, you want to get talent and you want to have nice things, but you don't want to spend money on luxury items, right? Just to trying to keep that analogy going. Like, hey, you know what? Like when you first move into an apartment, do you want to have some nice stuff? Yeah, you want to have some nice stuff, but you can't be out here buying a flat screen if you don't got a bed yet. Like if you don't got a refrigerator, how are you gonna have this? Oh man, I got a nice flat screen. This is the best flat screen on the market. Like, bro, it's hella other nice TVs. Like you don't need a ultra 4. What are you watching your ultra 4K TV from a pallet on the floor, bro? Like you got to make it make sense, and that's what we're doing. And what annoys me more than anything is that the reason why everybody says Genty isn't successful is exactly the reason why we shouldn't have drafted him. Like, oh, how you expect Genty to run, bro? He doesn't have any offensive linemen. Well, maybe you should have drafted offensive lineman instead of running back. Like, come on, bro. How you expect him? They're loading the boxes. He has no outside weapons, right? Like, how you expect him to run against all these loaded boxes? Like, well, you know what? Maybe you draft some weapons to stretch the field, some premium weapons to stretch the field to get to lighten up these boxes, or get some better passing threats to lighten up these boxes, right? Like maybe you do that. Like people like when I talk about Travion, like, oh, Travion, look at the team. Like, bro, last year they were considered one of the worst offensive linemen. They were considered one of the worst skill positions at wide receiver in all the league. So everything that they did that you're saying is the reason why Travion is having so much more success than Genty, even though he's also having more success than any other running back that they had prior to him. I wonder if is it the surroundings or is it just him as a player? So he's also having more success than previous guys that started for that team. But everything was done this past offseason outside of Drake May. So like we conceivably could have did a lot of those same moves. Their offensive line was so bad that guess what? Their first pick, they took an offensive lineman, right? So like that's what you do. You address those positions first, and we chose not to. So you can't. The reason why you point to Genty not being productive can't be the same reason why you shouldn't have drafted him. Like it doesn't add up. And I ask the question all the time. Like people be copying these plays for Genty, and make no mistake, Genty is a better player than Zamir White. He's a better player than Zamir White in almost every way. But none of these people made the excuses about offensive linemen being in the backfield or poor quarterback play or poor play calling. When it came to Zamir White, it was just, oh, Zamir White is terrible. He sucks. He's bad vision. They weren't going into these analytics. Look how Zamir White is getting hit at the line of scrimmage. They didn't do none of that stuff. It was just all Zamir.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And what I'm saying when I said the Raiders need talent, going back to what I was saying, is that they need to stack talent and they need to get starters out of these drafts. And if they get a guy like Genty, who they felt highly enough to take that high, and that was their highest rated guy, even though it wasn't a value or premium position, a running back position, like I said, they were really conservative in that they were like, we're not going to play the value game here. We're just going to get a talented player that we feel highly about and draft them at number 6. And then the following year, which is this upcoming draft, they address the offensive line. Or this offseason, they address the offensive line. So they get the offensive line to pair with their number 6 overall pick, who they're invested in Ashton Genty. And then they get maybe they grab a receiver. I don't know who that be. I don't know if they grab one in the draft. But I think let's just say the trenches will be it'll be an emphasis, I would think, this offseason, is to improve the offensive line. And if that's the case, then you give Genty what he needs in his second year in the league. What do you say to that?
I say, what is more difficult to find? A franchise left tackle or right tackle, or a productive running back?
No, I'm sure if they had to choose that, but even then, like that's why I wanted to bring up at the time, like we weren't like 100%. Like I know you probably like Kelvin Banks, but not a lot of people had him going high at number 6. But Membu, I know your guy was the left tackle from that went to Kansas City, who ended up going in the latter half of the first half.
You're wrong on that. Yeah.
Well, but that's because of off-field issues and whatever. I wouldn't say it's all bad with him, but what I'm trying to say, what I'm saying is, at the time, even we were like, you know what I mean? We were like, let's go here. You were mostly T-Mac. I'll give you that. You were a T-Mac guy at number 6. Yeah. But all I'm saying is the Raiders, they went after the guy that they felt highly enough, which I'm not out on Genty. I think he can be a good player. What we're talking about is value. That's basically what we're saying. Value.
Exactly.
Value. And all I'm saying is the Raiders looked at it from perspective that we need talent, and we're going to get the best talent, we feel like the best player on the board, and that was Genty. They grabbed Genty. And I know you're going to be like, well, why would you draft him when you don't have an offensive line? What happens if they address the offensive line? They address that the following offseason. And they do that through free agency. They do that through the draft. And then now you have that offensive line to pair with a guy like Genty. I mean, does that change anything? Or does that it has to be done. First and foremost, it has to be done.
Yeah.
But what happens if they do that? Does that change anything for you?
No, it doesn't change anything. No, why it doesn't change anything? Like, peep this, right? Players, let's say there was a player, right? He was the best player in the draft. You just felt 100% he was going to be the best player in the draft. But he had a serious injury and he was going to miss the entire year for sure. Does that guy still go in the first round?
No.
No, he doesn't go in the first round. So if you went into this draft saying we're going to waste a pick, first of all, on a non-valued position, and then waste a year on that non-valued position, and then hope that next year we're in position to possibly draft the pieces to help this non-valued position justify where we drafted them at, you're a fucking stupid organization. Like, you're stupid because you're wasting a year of this on a position that you shouldn't have drafted in the first place. So and teams, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I put in those terms, because teams, they're always thinking about, and you talk about it as well. Teams they're thinking about win now, or who can help me, who's going to contribute this year, who's going to help me win immediately. Like, we talk about Michael Bush, how we were able to get Michael Bush, a guy who was projected as potentially a late first round pick. We were able to get him in the third round because he had that serious knee injury at Louisville, and people knew he wasn't going to be ready for a year. Well, we were able to get a first round pick in the third because we knew he wasn't going to be ready for a year. So, like, we can't be drafting a running back position in the deepest running back class of all time, even with the thought of saying that he might possibly not reach the levels that people said he was supposed to reach. And then, like, and it's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking where people now they're pointing to everything else. When I pointed all this stuff out before, it was, oh, you don't know more than Pete Carroll, you know more than Chip Kelly, you know more than John. It's not about knowing more than them. It's just about logic. Sometimes just logic just dictates your move. And in the deepest running back class ever, you don't draft a running back early, and especially when it's a devalued position. You get it's a weak wide, not necessarily a weak wide, but the wide receiver class wasn't that deep. Like, the tackle class, it was good early on, but not great late. With the guard class was like good early on, but not great. So you address these shallow positions that are of more import than the running back position, and then you can get a running back later because the class is so deep. It's almost like when we drafted Tyree. It was a weak defensive tackle class. But it was a good edge class, right? Like, case in point, Byron Young, who's a plus starter, was drafted in the third round that year. You know, at the same round we drafted the other Byron Young. Like, why not draft the best defensive tackle in the class in the weak D tackle class and get an edge later? But we did the opposite. Like, you got to address the value positions first, especially when those value positions aren't deep in those particular classes. It's just, like I said, it's just 2 + 2. But sometimes people try to overthink the stuff and try and reinvent the wheel. And then that's why we end up with, like I said, Genty's a good player. He's a good player. I'm not drafting a good running back.
I'll say this, though. They weren't a player away, though. They also weren't.
Facts.
They weren't a player away. And this is what they felt. Because obviously actions speak louder than words, right? They felt like Genty was the best player on the board. Was it a premium position? No. I think Spytek will admit that. I think he comes from that thought process of premium positions. And to your point, there might have been a disconnect between him and Pete Carroll on it. And you know, Pete pulled ranked and he got his guy in Genty, but they're not a player away. And they just went ahead, they knew that they're not a player away. So they went ahead and they got the best, who they felt the best player on the board was, regardless of it being a premium position. And they went ahead and got Genty. So the following offseason, Ray got a question for you. He says, do you think Travion Henderson would succeed with this coaching staff, or Membu would develop with Pete's son coaching him?
I think
because
we've been critical
of I've been critical. I'll say I've been critical of Chip Kelly, and I know you also have been critical as well, but you kind of been measured in your approach. But I've been critical of Chip Kelly. But I know one of the things that you said was that like a lot of the coaching staff that has been built under that offensive coaching staff has been built by Pete Carroll. A lot of Pete Carroll guys, like Pete's son. Do you think that Travion Henderson would have been successful with Brendan Carroll being the run game coordinator and coaching that offensive line?
Two things. Do I think he'd be better than Genty? Yes. Do I think he would have been like doing what he's doing with the Patriots? No. But also, Travion would have been a second-round pick. So it wouldn't have been the same. He'd have been infinitely more productive than Jack Bech. He'd be doing way more than Jack Bech doing. That's not even the question. So, it's like, that's why I look at it. Like, and Membu, in terms of Membu, like I said, I wasn't super high on Membu. He's also a guy that, a lot of people thought was raw. So how would he look with Pete Carroll's son coaching? That I don't know. But he couldn't be any less from what the projection was to actually is than Genty. From what we heard about the projections of what Genty thought he was going to do to what he's actually doing, I think Membu would be closer to reaching what people thought of him as a player than Genty is to what people thought he would be as a player, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. They went ahead and got Genty. I'm not out on Genty. I'm not out on Genty, but like there is an argument to be had, and that was one of the biggest argument is like the Raiders are not completely there yet as a team, and they took a guy like Genty who's not a premium position, or it's not even a premium position. Like I think the biggest argument is like they didn't have the pieces around him to take advantage of his talents. You know what I'm saying? Which is the offensive line. Like the offensive line was a big question mark. We thought like, oh, okay, we would thought maybe they would address it. Maybe we were hoping for a Ted Ratledge in the second or third round. You know what I mean? That would have been nice with this offensive line. That would have been, you know what I mean? And the injuries haven't helped too as well, but it's just been a crazy year offensively. But I think the other side to this is just the fact that they wanted talent. They felt like the best player on the board, who was Genty, and they felt like they weren't a player away. It wasn't like they were a player away. They felt like, let's go ahead and get the best player on the board. We feel at it, and that was Genty, and then we'll address the positions accordingly after that. And then obviously the following offseason, look, if they don't address the offensive line, that'd be, man, that's crazy. That'd be crazy. It'd be crazy. But I think they're going to address the offensive line, like from free agency all the way up until the draft. I got to take a look at who's available in free agency. I know there's a center from the Ravens, I believe, that could be available, but it's hard to say because, some of these guys, like we found out last offseason, they'll get franchised. The good ones, they'll get franchised. Like we wanted Trey Turner or Trey Smith from the Chiefs. The guard, we thought we were going to steal him away from the Chiefs like we did years ago with Rodney Hudson at center. Yeah. Chiefs ain't that dumb. They went ahead and they franchised them and they locked them up for a few years. So the Raiders kind of have to get lucky. And I think, and that's another thing too. I think this is like a popular thing for people to say is like, oh man, free agency was terrible and like it was bad and they weren't aggressive. But if this is a rebuild, right? If this is a rebuild, then your investment in free agency has to reflect that. And I think the perfect guys to go after in free agency are guys who are young, right? Guys are young. And what I noticed with there weren't really a lot of young guys like that on the up and up available. There were some here and there, you know what I mean? You could argue maybe the Raiders should have brought back the pass rusher. I don't know how old he is.
Oh, for sure should have brought Kelvin Chase on.
Should have brought him back. But I will say this, that's the consequences of changing, having a GM and a new coach every year. Those 100%. Guys you're going to lose them. It happens every time. Every regime that comes in, they're always going to lose certain players that we were like, damn, like why are they not keeping them? It's because they're going a different direction and they got players that they want to add to the team. And sometimes some players get lost in the shuffle. But people forget that this last free agency, it was a weak free agency class. There were a lot of players with injury red flags. And what do we find out from Spytek the entire offseason? For the most part, he doesn't like going after guys with injury red flags. And if he does, he wants to give them the lowest investment that he can give them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, for example, like I think we got our starting corner, the Raiders starting corner in Stokes for pennies, you know, compared to like, you know, other starting corners in the NFL. Because he came with the injury red flag. But that was like one of their guys that was, you can say, was an injury prone type of guy. Jamal Adams, like vet minimum, I think, you know, with his injury history, vet minimum, a lot of 1-year deals, not a lot of investment. So it's hard for me to criticize a guy like Spytek when the options weren't there. And plus the way he treated it accordingly. Like, nah, we're going to give you a 1-year deal. If it's a injury red flag. And the thing is too, there were guys that I wanted that had injury red flags. Hufanga, the safety coming from the 49ers that went to Denver. I wanted him, but hey, he got a contract from Denver. Yeah. Denver is going all out. It's almost like they're trying to go for that Super Bowl, and they got a defense there. They got a Super Bowl caliber defense, so it made sense for them to get aggressive because they have a young rookie QB. The Raiders don't even have that. They got a Geno Smith who, in my opinion, like I know a lot of people probably blame Spytek. Maybe he should take a little bit of accountability for that move. But that was a Pete move, bro.
Pete Carroll, bro. That's Pete Carroll.
That was Pete. He did that for Pete, bro. He did that for Pete. And they needed a quarterback. They have to have somebody out there. Fact. Like, they have to get somebody out there. They can't just roll into the season, hey, you know, O'Connell. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, you know, years past, the year before that, it was, you know, Gardner Minshew. Even though we all knew that he was like, nah, we need to draft quarterback. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm not out on Genty. I'm not out on Spytek. It's too early to call. We'll see how they maneuver it. Do everybody has every right to criticize it? For sure. Until they address the talent, the team, and make it work and make it fit, you know, you can definitely criticize it. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I was never in on Genty because like I can't be like I'm not out on him. I was never in on him. And like I said, I never thought, and I don't think he's a bust. I just think he's a good player. He's like, and that's what and that's why when I heard what Shannon said, I was like, bro, you know, my sentiments exactly. And look, we heard it, and it's not the first person that said it. Chris Sims said it early in the year. Ryan Clark said it, and people, then Genty had a big game, his only big game of the year, and then people, what do you say now? But they're all echoing the same sentiments. Like, he's a good player, and and we asked to give him some opportunities on the outside, and last game he had some opportunities on the outside, and he didn't capitalize. Right, one play he took a 4-yard loss. He was 1-on-1 on the outside with a corner, and rather than try to make something out of it, he took a 4-yard loss in the red zone. It's like, bro, like, how many more examples do we need to say he's a good player, but he's not transfer? Like, as Shannon said, he's not transformational. He's not a guy you built your offense around. He's not, a foundational piece. He's a good player that's going to be productive. He'll have some 1,000-yard seasons. Might even make a Pro Bowl one day. But is he going to be a game changer that to change your entire offense? Like, Kyron Williams made a Pro Bowl. Like, he was drafted in like the 3rd round. Bucky Irvin made a Pro Bowl. He's drafted in there's guys available later on that are going to do those same type of things. And I just don't feel that there was any value there in that pick. And when you lose value, that's what hurts you the most. Just because you lose opportunities to pick up other players at those positions and still get a comparable value at that same position later on.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Genty's generational, but I also wonder, like, how did some of these guys that are generational running backs, how their offensive line looked day one, or when it was less than desired, like it was average, because the Raiders' offensive line is obviously not average; it's below average. It's terrible. It's probably one of the worst in the NFL. But I want to see, like, I'm curious to see, like, these guys, like the Adrian Petersons, the LaDainian Thompson, all these great players who obviously we all know them to be great players at their position. What did they do when, like, did they have a bad offensive line? Did they have a bad? Because I know that with Minnesota, I don't know right off the gate if it was that, but I know in Minnesota there was he had some all pros on that offensive line. I think one or two, at least a couple of guys are like, they're pretty good. So I don't know if it was right off the gate though, because we all know what Adrian Peterson did day one. Like, it was crazy season. But my point is like, was the offensive line, because it's not even average. How could you even? It's not even like, God, like, it's just so bad. It's bad on a lot of different levels. And I'm not gonna call Genty generational, especially because he hasn't shown me or done anything yet. But also the offensive line is just kind of like bad too, where it's like, man, like, we gotta. It's tough, but that goes back to the original point that you're trying to make was the value of taking a running back when you don't have all the pieces around him. But that's a question I want to answer. I want to look at some of these great players, these generational talents, and I want to look at their offensive line. And was it good that season, or was it average at least? And if it was below average, that's actually something that.
Look what Saquon did
with the Giants the first year.
I would look at Saquon. He led the league all pros. I mean, led the league all-purpose yards as a rookie. I would, I changed, like, that's the last generation. I know some people put Bijan as generational. I didn't necessarily think he's generational, but he could be proving me wrong right now the way he's playing. But I don't know if you want to take a look at his offensive line. But like, there's only 3 players. I think I saw this stat. There's only 3 players right now in the league that are averaging 4 yards per carry after contact. And it's Jonathan Taylor, I want to say Jahmyr Gibbs, and Travion Henderson. So take that for what you will. Travion is one of the guys averaging more yards per carry after contact. You looked at people, everybody went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and they was like, oh, look how Genty has more yards after contact than he has total yards. Guess who else put up that same kind of stat line as soon as he was given the opportunity? Travion Henderson. So like I said, is Genty in a good situation? No. Like, I won't pretend this offensive line is good, or like trying to run blocking is sustainable, or setting him up for success. What I will say is there have been times when he's given opportunities to show individually that he is a guy that can do these things, and he's done it exactly one time all year, and that was in Chicago, where he broke a tackle, took it up the sideline. He's had other opportunities and he hasn't done it. He had a swing pass like out against the Cowboys up the left sideline, and he gets chased down by a linebacker and ran out of bounds. He had the other swing pass when he's one-on-one on the outside with the corner, instead of making a move on a guy, making a miss, breaking a tackle, or at least putting your head in the shoulder and trying to get some positive yards, he runs out of bounds for a 4-yard loss. Like, it's just stuff like that. That's just a microcosm of that's so illustrative of what he is as a player. And he's a good player, but he just individually, he's not going to do it all for you.
So you said that he's 4th overall, Travion Henderson, yards after contact.
There's only 4 people. No, not 4 yards. Only because look at his carries. So yards per carry after contact. There's only 3 people. I want to say 3 people that are averaging 4 yards per carry after contact, and he's one of them.
Damn! It doesn't show the full list. It just shows. Man, Josh Jacobs is still. He's still top 10.
Doing his thing.
He's still doing his thing, man. Josh Jacobs was a very good running back, man.
Yeah, he was.
He's a very good running back, man.
It's showing the list
from day one. He's like number 8, but I don't know how like reliable this is. Though this is like a different website, but number 1 is I think yards per content attempt. Jamari Gibbs 3.7, James Cook 3 yards, Kyron Williams 2.9, Jonathan Taylor 2.8. Yeah. But this is like Fantasy Pros.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I can sing the stat right now. I think the guy put it out here. Yard yak per attempt. I got there's four. No, I was wrong on who it was. There's it's four guys. It's Jonathan Taylor is 4.5 yards. Yards after contact per attempt. Javonte Williams is 4 yards per contact after attempt. Trevion is 4 yards per contact after attempt, and Devon Achane is 4 yards 4 yards after contact per attempt.
EPA. That's not. They're not. This one only gives the total yards after content. They don't give the average. It is what it is. But yeah, man. Hey, look, man. We'll see, man. Right now, it doesn't look good for the Raiders as far as from a talent perspective. They just need talent at the end of the day. Hopefully, Genty balls out moving forward with the next coaching staff. You know what I mean? We'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll see. But my guy, LS, man, appreciate the super chat. He says, drafting Genty didn't just cost us number 6. It cost us the opportunity to move back and acquire more capital to help fill the team out. It's bad with drafting a running back at 6 unless they're putting up 1,500-yard play. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's valid, man. That's valid. We'll see what happens moving forward with his career, man. Because if he's a bust, that's even worse. If Genty's
I think he's a high ceiling. I think he's not a high ceiling. I think he's a low ceiling, high floor player. I don't think Genty's going to ever be just like trash or a bust, just because I think he has qualities that are going to help him be at least successful in the league. I don't think he's going to ever justify being the number 6 overall pick, though.
All right, we'll see. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're not done yet. We got one more last segment here. We got what's real, what's not. This is where we say a statement, and we react as well as everybody watching. If it's real or it's not. Severe, what we got?
Yes, man. So obviously the Raiders are in the midst of a tough season, and when we first made the move, the transition, and we moved off of our last head coach and we moved to this new head coach and this new regime. The chorus was echoing throughout all of Raider Nation. Oh, at least we're going to be better than last year. If nothing else, we're going to be better than last year. So the what's real, what's not for this week is the Raiders will get to 4 wins by the end of the year. The Raiders will get to 4 wins by the end of the year, which would equal our win total from last year.
I'm going to say it's real. Because I think Pete is trying everything in his power to win games. And I'm not saying it's a guarantee that's going to happen. But like, if he's doing that, he has 2 winnable games on the schedule. He has the Browns coming up, and he also has the Giants. And now the Browns is an interesting situation because they're gonna start Shedeur this week, and this would be the timing is impeccable. But that's what teams do. They look at weak teams, trash teams, and be like, all right, we'll start them out against this weak team. And guess who the weak team is? It's the Raiders. So. And then the Raiders passed on Shedeur, just like a lot of teams. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he plays. But Patrick Graham against rookies, usually he plays pretty well. Like I feel like he does a good job against rookies. So we'll see how that looks on Sunday. But the main thing is that Myles Garrett is in town. That's the game wrecker. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen on offense. But I think the Browns game and then the Giants game are the 2 winnable games. I think Pete is going to try everything possible to win those games. There's obviously other games in between that time, but I don't think the Raiders have a chance in winning. It's the Chargers. I don't think they're going to win that. They're not going to win the Denver game. I mean, they almost won the first time around Denver game, but almost doesn't matter with this team.
Yeah, and we'll be at home this next time too. So
yeah, I'm gonna say it's
maybe,
real.
Maybe.
I'm gonna say real. I think they're gonna get to 4 wins. They're gonna get to 4 wins. Damn, if they don't get to 4 wins, oh, and they fired AP.
We might not get to 3, brother. We might not get to 3. Yo, it's look, because we speak this, right? Talking about the 2 teams that we play against that we conceivably have the best chance against is the Browns, who are, obviously we know Myles Garrett's been wrecking shop. And then Mason Graham is a good player as well, right? So they got 2 guys on the defensive line that are going to cause issues. We just played a Cowboys team that essentially had 2 guys on the defensive line, and they were able to control the whole game. There was a time where they dropped 8 people into coverage. They dropped 8 people into coverage, only rushed 3, and they still got instantaneous pressure. So, if we're rolling out this same offensive line this next upcoming week, as you just said before, Derek Thomas, you better watch out, brother. You better watch out. You better watch out, man. Somebody could break your record. And then you look at the Giants game, right? Who did the Giants draft with their first round pick? Abdul Carter. Who do they already have there that's probably could possibly be the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL? Dexter Lawrence. Yeah. Who else do they have there?
Brian Burns.
Thibodeau. And Brian Burns. So they got 4 guys that could conceivably, they got 4 potential Pro Bowl / All Pro level guys. Maybe like Kayvon Thibodeau, less so, not really All Pro Bowl, but a good player. But Brian Burns, he's been an All Pro guy before. Dexter Lawrence, clearly, All Pro guy, and we know Brian Abdul Carter, people think he will turn into. So, our offensive line against that defensive line. I say more?
Guess who they're going to try to get back though before the game?
Who, Dart?
Colton Miller.
Oh, bro. If they
because they asked Pete, and he's like, we're working it. We're hoping he's gonna be back. He's gonna be back this season,
bro.
But Pete is, I'm telling you, bro, he is trying to win game. It's AP all over again. You remember last year, the Raiders couldn't tank it right last year.
No.
What makes you think they're gonna tank it right this year? Because last year, Mark was I think he probably spoke to AP, or there was AP had an understanding that hey, if he finishes strong, or he gets a certain amount of wins or whatever, he gets to keep his job, and then that wasn't the case.
Lie detector determined that was a lie.
That was a lie, and the same thing might be true for Pete. I think Pete is trying to finish strong. Because bro, it sounds like the Raiders are kind of we need to get out this situation, but if he finishes strong, then it might go, okay, well, let's see what happens after that. But I'm telling you, brother, right? They always mess it up, man. They always mess it up. That's what I'm betting on. That's why I'm saying
it's Raiders to Raider it up.
It is. Come on, bro. They're gonna do something stupid. They're gonna do something dumb.
I will say this. I will say the main difference here is that last year we had some of our easiest games. Bro, me too, man. I will be so mad. But last year we caught some of our easiest games toward the end of the season, right? But this year, our easy stretch was low key in the beginning. What we thought would be the easier stretch was in the beginning. When we played the Jags and we played the Colts, we thought that was the easy stretch of the season. Obviously, the Titans were able to get that win. We didn't know what Chicago was, so we thought the easier stretch was in the front end of the season. But now, on down the stretch of this season, we got a whole bunch of tough matchups. Man. So I think our only hope to really win the game, the Browns game, I can say possibly if Shador turns the ball over a bunch. But Quinshon Jackson might just run the ball all over us, and Shador might just do play action all day and throw to Harold Fannin and Njoku, and then just win the game like that, right? And just never really have to do anything spectacular. And so, and then I think our best bet would be if we catch a Chargers team that's super hobbled, injured, they're beat up, like we catch them slipping. And because we saw who just put the beats on them, like somebody just put the beats on them crucial. And that was the Broncos just put the beats on the Chargers? Or the Jaguars?
No, it was the Jaguars.
Jaguars just put the beats on the Chargers, right? Yeah, the Jaguars just put the beats on them. But they had
that was your upset pick right there too.
Yeah, that's my upside. Yeah, so it just like beat them bad. Like it was beat them bad. So like they're kind of vulnerable right now. So maybe we sneak and get that, and that's a divisional game. Obviously there's the animosity between Pete and Harbaugh. So there's that dynamic there. So maybe we can sneak and get, especially if you force Colton Miller back into action, which would be discussed. That would be bro. At that point, I'll probably call for Pete to get fired. Like right now, I'm like, you know what? Hey, let him kind of leave gracefully.
You know what gets you hella mad? I already know this would get you hella mad. If like the Raiders had a chance to get like a top 5 pick or whatever, or top 3 pick, and Jesse runs for 350 yards.
He goes crazy. Oh my goodness.
He has the best game of his career.
I will be hot.
Oh man.
I'll be so mad.
And the Raiders handed off to him 35 times.
Exactly, right. He just handed off. He's out there. I'll be so hot. Our line's so bad though. That's never gonna happen. Our line is so bad. It's never. Gonna happen.
It's
never gonna happen, bro.
It's disgusting.
He'd have to get 300. He had to get 350 yards, 5 yards at a time, bro.
Yeah. I was arguing that the Raiders should have probably ran the ball more from a balance perspective, just to keep the defense honest, like just to have some type of like cohesive. Can't even tongue twister. I want it to be where just a balanced attack, but I understood what it was too. The offensive line just they couldn't block anybody too. Like it is what it is. People dying in the chat. I'm telling you, bro. Like the Raiders are gonna do some. It's gonna be some goofy stuff, bro. Like, because there's always every year there's always gonna be like a game where we didn't expect it. I mean, the Patriots game, even though now that we look back, that was actually a great win based off how the Patriots are playing, but it wasn't like an unexpected win at the time. So they're gonna do something where be like, oh my God, the Raiders. They find a way to get a victory on the road.
Oh my God! Yeah. I'll be so hot, man.
They finished with the number 9 pick instead of the number 1 pick.
That's exactly what happened, because, like you said, like one win, bro. Oh my God, one win can drastically change. I can still talk about it to this day, bro. That I remember that win we had against Denver, and that was the difference between Quentin Williams or Nick Bosa. And obviously we ended up with Cleveland Farrell. And I still remember that Denver game. People were like, oh, they can't be just losing games to get, you gotta go. Bro, like, don't nobody remember that game.
Look, and I remember we played Kansas City last game of the season.
Yeah.
They're gonna be playing.
No, they're kind of struggling. They're kind of hot. They can't afford to give up no games, bro. They kind of struggling right now. They gotta win everything.
Yeah, they gotta win everything. But I ain't gonna lie, it would kind of feel good if they beat. I know this. It's just like the Raider fan in me, even though they should lose that game, but I'm just saying, like, it would feel good to beat them, and then they can't make the playoffs. That would feel just. But obviously with the Raiders, they need to get that pick for sure.
Yeah.
But if any, I don't think. I just think, to be honest with you, I think the Raiders are gonna get a top 10 pick. They're gonna get a top 10 pick.
Top 10. I don't want just top 10, bro. I want like top 4, top 5.
Man, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah. See, like it'll be different. Like if it was a situation where we were like 7. We're like 7 and 8 or 7 and 9. And it's the last game of the season, and we playing Kansas City, and they have a chance to go to the playoffs, or we have a chance to knock them. If it's that situation where it's like, okay, we already not gonna be picking super high, all right, cool. You know what? I want us to win, knock them out the playoffs. A la Gruden in what was that, 99 or 98, 99? In that situation. But in this situation, bro, where like every win is in draft position is at a premium. Nah, bro, don't even mess around with that, bro. Don't even mess around with that.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, for me, I know a lot of people want to go quarterback. Man, I'm not like a big Mendoza guy, but Ty Simpson is kind of interesting. But I ain't gonna lie, BPA, I'm kind of like warming up to the BPA.
Arvell Reese.
But then, like right now, I seen Dane Brugel has him like as the number one prospect. He might be like the number one guy. So if these quarterbacks go early, and the Raiders can benefit from these quarterbacks going early, and they can get the best player in the draft, like arguably the best player in the draft, because the best player in the draft is not the quarterbacks. It's a lot of these defensive players.
Yeah. Like Bain. I mean, a lot of people they're not quite as high as Bain as he was, or they were early in the season. I think it's like a lot of people think he's kind of undersized, stuff like that. But Arvell Reese is a guy I noticed, and now he's climbing draft board. So I'm like, damn. Like,
man, I know we gotta get out of here because I feel like we could talk for hours or whatever. But I hella forgot to mention this to you because I was talking to someone about the Brady, right? And like in the type of quarterbacks that he would go for. And I feel like Brady. I feel like Ty Simpson would be a Brady quarterback. Ty Simpson would be a Brady. He would.
We would. Oh,
yeah.
I can see that. I can see that.
Because he was on a recent podcast, and it was a clip from that podcast where he was talking about the quarterback position and the development and how it's played. I'm paraphrasing here. I'll send you the clip later or whatever, but he was just talking about it and how important it is. He was saying, I think one of the main quotes he kind of said was that he was saying that man, what did he say? He said the running is a trait.
Yeah.
Running is a trait
versus skill or something like that.
Yeah, it's a trait rather than a skill. And he was saying to ability like to process the defense and all that type of stuff, that's a skill. That's something that you had to. Then he started talking about like, guys like Tom Brady, guys like Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, bro, like what are you like? A lot of these quarterbacks is coming out. They're not Peyton Manning and Drew Brees. They're not pure pocket passers. Now I will say that like maybe Mendoza. Like
I think he'll like Mendoza. I think he'll love Mendoza. He'll have an interview with Mendoza. Like, oh my God, he's got it all together. He's got it all figured out. So he'll love Mendoza.
Yeah, and then you hear him in other interviews where he kind of talks about how he values players that stay within a college for a long period of time, especially with NIL. A lot of people are transferring, and like him and Peyton Manning on the podcast, they were talking. They were like, "Yeah, man, like I was with my offensive coordinator in Tennessee for all this many years." You know what I mean? And they're talking about their whole journey in quarterback and how they were able to get better as a quarterback because they were in the same system. So he might value these guys that's been in the same system. Now, Ty Simpson, he hasn't, been a starter for that long. This is his first year starting, but he's been with Alabama for 4 years.
Yeah.
As a backup.
Yeah. He hasn't been in the same system though. But that's not his fault.
Right. But he's been within that same program though.
I would think you would value guys that have shown they can have success in multiple systems because in the NFL it's ever changing. So you kind of have to show your adaptability, your ability to pick up a playbook and digest it and go out there and have success under different circumstances. So you would think that I honestly, obviously maybe it's a little bit easier if you stay in one system, get a little more confidence and things of that nature. You're able to build a little bit better, but also being able to operate multiple systems, I think that's a value as well.
Yeah, no, and I hear you on that. My thing is that like you hear Tom Brady saying all these things, so he talks about how QB development has been a problem. The whole process from high school, he says it starts from the NFL, which trickles down to college and high school, and how they develop the position. And he just talks about the problem, right? He talks about the problem all the time. And he talks about, what he values in quarterbacks and what this is how it's supposed to be. Okay, you're now in the Raiders building, and they're going to talk to you about the quarterback position. Where's that balance of what you're going to be looking for in a quarterback that's coming out in today's NFL? What's your solution? So I say like maybe it's Ty Simpson because he's coming in like doing a lot of quarterback stuff. Like he's doing things like, that's what. But then like, where's that balance to me where you look for the traits? Because traits are important, but obviously like you're going to value a quarterback that can, be accurate and process what he sees out there and stuff like that. But I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Like this week when I heard that clip and I start adding up all these things, because every time Tom Brady gets in front of a mic, he's always talking about like how the quarterback position is worse than it's ever been, and like and then it's almost like he kind of doesn't like these mobile QBs.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like how they've simplified things for QBs to have more success, which is like, it's like the old man. He's like, it's the get off my line gang in terms of quarterback. Like, back in my day, they weren't able to do it. They weren't doing all this running and juking and stuff. You had to step back in the pocket and you had to call out the plays and you had to do this and that's not the NFL anymore, man. Like that's not the league anymore, So you got to kind of move with the times, and these are the times now, bro. So if you don't, you evolve or you die, and that's what it is in Mother Nature. That's what it is in the NFL, man. So we better get with the times. Like you see what Drake May doing. You see what Bryce Young just did. You see what these mobile quarterbacks. We see what these guys are doing. They're the guys. Patrick Mahomes is in that same mode. Like you don't see this statue stand in the pocket. No armed guys. That's Tua, for the most part, right? You see what he looks like. You see what Kirk Cousins looks like anytime he gets a start. The only guy he got left is Flacco, and Flacco has a cannon for an arm. So he's not even. That's a trait in and of itself. So it's like it's a different league, brother. It's a different league.
No, facts. And the more I think about it, the more I don't want Brady to be a guy that's a huge decision maker in that building. I just want him to be like a voice in the room, a resource for a spy tech or the scouts or whoever in that building. I don't want him to be part of. I want everybody to just do their job. Just do their job, man. Coaches coach, the players play, the GMs be a GM, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then you evaluate them when the time comes, and then you go from there. Come on, at the end of the day, bro, because when it comes to the QB, I want the QB to match the offensive coordinator and the QB coach. Yeah. Whatever they value and whatever they feel like they can, develop into a successful quarterback, I want them, preferably Brian Daboll, because we, low-key has a track record, but, that's a whole different conversation. But yeah, man, I just wanted to talk about that real quick, man. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. At this point, clock out, man. We are going live on both our channels, so if you haven't clocked in at this point, clock out, man. Make sure to head over to both channels and hit that like button, as well as subscribe to both channels if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody coming through and chopping it up with us, talking about the Raiders and how their season is going. We'll be back here later this week around the Shield. Definitely tune in. We'll have guests, and we'll continue the conversation. And man, is it too early? It's a little too early to do mock drafts, man. I try to do a mock draft, but it's so many players that were in that mock draft that you like. This guy's not coming out. Yeah. This guy's not coming out. Like Dante Moore, like, you know what I mean? It sounds like he's not coming out, but he could come. Like, man, he could come out this year.
It makes no sense if he gets. You know how they have that evaluation committee, right? Where they tell you, hey, you know what, this guy, this is where we project you to be picked. If they give him a top 10 projection and he doesn't come out, he's an idiot. He's an idiot, bro. Like, Like, I don't give a damn about going back to school, getting your degree. Brock Bowers just got his degree. Like, you can do all of that stuff, you know. And the only reason I would say you go back to school if you legitimately think you have a chance at a national championship, and that's something you've always dreamed about, is winning a national championship at the collegiate level. Okay, okay, you know, if it's a personal goal, but just financially and business wise, bro, if you're supposed to be a top 10 pick, bro, you gotta come out of school. You gotta leave school, man.
Yeah. The only thing is that like he is in that, he's young enough where he could stay, and especially with his experience too. You know what I mean? He comes back, and a lot of people probably in his corner, and you know, Oregon is willing to pay up in that NIL money, so he could come back and like, because right now he only has technically a 1 year, a little bit more than 1 year of experience.
Yeah, like
so maybe if he comes
with that.
Yeah, if he comes back and just like doubles down on like just that experience part of his game, and then maybe but the next 2027 draft, there's always the next year. They always talk about the next year, the following year, bro.
Yeah.
But we never know. Like this year was supposed to be. Now we don't even like. We don't even know. It's like we don't even know who's coming out. It's just like, oh man, is it going to be a 2 quarterback at the top draft, and then everybody else? You know what I mean? We don't know. But I just think that like he might go back and try to get more experience. So we'll see what happens there. But Severe, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff, man.
You guys know what it is, man. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, X, IG, Kick, Twitch, everywhere. The Severe Raider. Holla at your boy, man. Obviously, you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays with my guy PharoahNFL and Around the Shield and the 50-50 show. And then on Sundays and Wednesdays in the Raider War Room with Chris from Protect the Shield and 805 Raider. Like 805 said he's looking to break down some film tomorrow, so it'll be an interesting endeavor. Then, you know, salute to everybody that was, you know, that hopped on with your boy last night. Did a little post game rant, man. You know, I missed I don't know how many chats, so man, salute to everybody. If I didn't address the chat, man, I just appreciate y'all pulling up with your boy. I'm gonna try and do that a little bit more regularly, man. But yeah, tap in, man. Make sure you hit the like button and notification bell on both channels, and that really helps push the channel out there, man. And it helps us bring a little bit more audience to what we're trying to do over here.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Well, like I said earlier, man, we'll be back here later this week. Around the Shield. Definitely follow us on Around the Shield on X and on IG as well, and then obviously our personal pages as well. You know, The Severe Raider and myself, PharoahNFL. Anything lined? You say you got? Oh yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, you're gonna be. Good luck. Good luck, man. That's gonna be depressing breaking down that film tomorrow, man.
Oh my God.
Raider War Room, man. But yeah, man, we appreciate everybody pulling up, man. Great show, great conversation. Any last thoughts before we head out?
Nah, man. Just, you know. I said it the other day, man. You know, what's the definition of, you know, doing the same thing over and over again and trying to get different results? Call that being a Raider fan. Call that being a Raider fan.
Damn, man. On that note, man, we out of here, man.
Just win, baby. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.